2, 1. What up? We're back. Episode 78 with the boys. Brandon, Heck Dog. How you guys doing?
What's up? Happy episode 7. Well, you just said it, 78?
78, yeah.
It's Friday.
Yeah, you guys ready for a good episode?
Yes,
Never been more ready in my life.
Woo! Yeah, we
I
got a
was born
good
for
setup
this.
for you guys. And yeah, we talked about how it hasn't been that much news, but it's been kind of a crazy week with Kanye, the protests.
Yeah.
We started watching the protests, the three of us, when we were kind of do our midweek prep for the podcast. And we didn't think it was a big deal at first, and then the story kept going on and on.
The first time since 1814, like the Capitol was
Trump's
stormed.
basically like the Mad King. He's like the Mad King, just like burning everything as he like goes out.
Crazy.
He made a little like nice little concession. The most we're gonna get.
There's more and more videos of like cops literally letting them in and waving them in. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
so I think it's absolutely terrible. Like, it's embarrassing. It's pathetic. I mean, the media absolutely loves it, and they do cover left and right protests differently. One, it's a peaceful protest, but it's hard to defend this one. I mean, it was storming into the Capitol building. I don't get how they got in. Like,
They let him in. Didn't you see the video?
Nancy Pelosi's desk, like the door's not locked.
they took
Well,
the
they let
mail out.
They let him. They like opened the door for them, and then from
What?
there, it's
Some
they
cops
just.
were doing their job. Some cops.
Why
were
would they open the
actually
door for
aiding
them?
Because there were so
I
many
saw the
people.
video
They were like,
where it was like Beauty and the Beast, where they were trying to
Yeah.
break down the door.
Did you see the lady who got shot? Did you see that video?
As she was
There's
like
a
going
cop-
in through the window.
There's a cop who died too. They just announced it this morning. A cop.
Yeah, I
died
think
from
four
injuries.
people died. But the lady that got shot, it was so weird because it was like very uneventful. Like she
It was
was
in the
climbing over,
crowd.
she got
Yeah,
shot, and then
yeah.
like nobody really reacted. She just
Like, why her? Yeah.
well, because she was
But,
like climbing over the whole pile of craziness. But I mean,
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
cop was
unbelievable.
probably saying, "Do not."
It was
advance,"
unbelievable.
or
It was
shoot,
unbelievable.
can't
And
shoot,
honestly,
like-
And I was up later that night because I was printing shirts and I was kind of following along the news. And I was watching like the Congress like post. It was like, I guess it didn't finalize till 3:45 in the morning when
'Cause
they actually.
they like
'Cause they had to
recessed and
postpone
didn't
it.
start till 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was up at like 11 and I was like listening to, I guess like every senator gets to like talk or something like that.
Mhm.
And I actually felt good about the country hearing all the senators do their little pitch because like, yeah, that was crazy. That's a bad sign. That's how like governments like get destroyed throughout history. Like
Yep.
it's never going to happen. I still have a lot of faith in America overall. But we can't take anything for granted. And
Trump
Yeah.
got banned from Twitter and Facebook. Like,
Oh
Yeah.
my God, he
Pretty
must have been
big.
melting down. I would love. So you would have to think that Mike Pence they were together, right? For at least for a little bit. From what I
When?
understand, like after all this happened, when wherever they are.
I don't think they were together.
You don't think so?
I feel like them two haven't been together in like since
long
like
time.
in a while, a couple weeks. Like, it's not like they
Yeah.
lived together. It's not like they lived
Right.
together.
Right, but I mean, the vice president, I would think that they would be together because, well, I guess Trump probably wasn't at the Capitol, but either
No.
way, it would have been awkward regardless because Trump was counting on him to like not certify the votes. He did.
I mean,
And then, so it would have been awkward. And then all this, and everyone was pressuring him, like, oh, invoke the 25th Amendment, like basically remove Trump from office. Trump
There's 2
didn't have
weeks left.
access to Twitter. I know, but I don't know. Like,
I don't even care. Like I've always liked Trump. Like I mean, this
Does
is
this
a
change
very low
your-
moment.
like when you look back
I
on his
thought you might
presidency.
ask me that. I thought you might ask me that. Like, this is bad, very bad, and I got to kind of see how it plays out to form an
Did
opinion.
y'all
I mean, no,
watch
I
the
don't like him
video
right now.
where he like admitted like the election certified? There's gonna be a transition.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
finally
that was good.
said
I was. I mean, too little, too late. Definitely, I was happy to at least see that.
But
I mean, he
his
literally had a
character, I don't
rally.
think, like, you think he did it on his own accord, or someone like forced him? Like,
I
think
mean,
people
no
have
one can
been
force him to
forcing-
do anything.
like the
I think they've
powers
been
above
trying-
him, like,
They've been trying
No
to
one
do
can
that
force
for
him
the
to do
past
anything.
month and a half.
Right,
And then
right.
finally
No one
he
can-
was like, okay.
No one
It's
can force
like-
him to do anything.
It-
He
it's
held a
not-
rally in D.C. and said, "Let's go down to the Capitol building." And I mean, I really like. If I were to defend him, which I'm not, he wants his storyline to be when this is over that I fought till the very end, and like he was trying to like portray that he was fighting till the very end. And like, I don't think he wanted to get violent.
terrible.
Either way, I'm not defending him. It's terrible. And
I loved, like, did you see, there's some video of like when they're getting everybody out of the Capitol building, and it's like a single file line, and it's just like the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life, and then the next person's even uglier, and the next person's even uglier, and it's
here's an interesting thought.
It's shocking how bad.
Here's an interesting thought on that note. Like, okay, so everyone is kind of surprised by how many people were there, right? And I mean, this a lot of Trump rallies, they all a lot of people. Like, I don't think every person is like would be the one to do violence, but there was a lot of people. If you were gonna like profile the type of person that would do this, like in everyday life, I can't really who I know a lot of people. I can't imagine anyone that would actually do it. I mean, I had like one of my aunts was like, I wish I was storming the Capitol with them. I mean, I think ultimately
it's an obsession of like
ultimately they picked a side, their side lost, and they're not the most brilliant people who are well coping with emotions, and they don't know how to handle it, and then it results in this. And clearly they didn't have jobs on Wednesday,
right,
at 12 o'clock, like, and that's what they said.
They took buses from like Texas, from all over.
Right. This wasn't just like DC people. It was very similar in a way to like the Women's March the day after the last election. Not as far as the violence, as far as the organization of it, like people from all over the country. But I'm trying to like stereotype like the type of person, and
stupid rednecks, like white trash.
I mean,
I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, there's more than I thought.
On average, how many teeth were missing from the average adult?
I saw a couple pictures of people with no teeth.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah,
and like those like braided goatee. It was just, like these people gave me the willies just looking at them. I can't imagine. I have to imagine the rich white folks who are in Congress.
Do you think they made Trump
exactly
because like Trump is everything they wanted to be, I guess, in life? Like that's
it's because he knows how to.
That's a good question.
I think he knows how to appeal to them. Like on the surface, they should hate him because he's the rich, spoiled kid from New York. They're the rural, working class, but he is really good at speaking to them, manipulating them, and he's charismatic enough to say, "I will help you."
There's nothing that I despise more than like victimhood. And I always looked at like the left as more of victimhood people, but these people they're like victims. Like, it's not fair. My government isn't for me. Like, this is not fair. We're going to let the left take over. Like they're the victims. I mean,
and it's
the worst people come out when they lose.
Because Donnie is feeding them that. You know what I
mean?
Dude,
he is feeding them.
They wouldn't just come to that conclusion on their own. If he would have conceded on
He basically said this isn't over, though. He's like, the voices of these people, like, this is just the beginning. He said that.
I think he means that he's going to try to run again. So that's the other thing. If they try to impeach
he's leaving
him,
that open.
If they impeach him, he can't.
Oh, really?
If they successfully impeach him, if he is revoked from the White House, then he can't run again. So that's like, I bet that there's enough Republican people in Congress that would be okay with that. That would probably want that. But
who is
it? I did not know that element. I did not know that if he gets
James Madison.
No.
Nixon.
Nixon and I think Andrew Johnson, the person after Kennedy. But he didn't get, or not after Kennedy, sorry, after Lincoln. But he didn't get booted from office. The only one booted from office was Nixon.
George Clinton was also impeached. Or Bill Clinton. George Clinton.
George Clinton. Yeah, but the only one booted from office was Nixon. And I still...
Well, he resigned.
After Trump,
Nixon technically resigned.
I think the Nixon story is like the media shaping the whole narrative, and like it wasn't that bad what Nixon did. I mean, of course it's bad.
Child's play these days.
Exactly, though. But all he did was record another person's opposing party's like hotel room or something. And the worst thing he did, though, was he lied.
Lied about it.
And like
he didn't.
The media like made that story. Mm-hmm. He resigned, right? But he would have got. Right. He was very embarrassed, and like the media made that story, and there was no social media in those days, and like the protest, like remember that guy who like got in that face of that like Indian guy, a little young kid with the Trump hat, like
sure.
I got caught up being appalled by that, and that turned out that like he was right, like, and with this, like when you see celebrities all tweeting about how fucked up everything is, and then you see CNN talking about this is the worst thing in the world, like I got caught up in that, and I'm still caught up in it. And but if you look at both sides, like they do cover these people like they're terrible people, and the other people are protesting, they cover them a little better. But when you look at it, I still don't defend what they're doing. Like they're losers. They lost. Like it's embarrassing. And to care about politics that much is a little sad because
it's weird.
Like if you don't care and you have your own Like I'm getting a loan from the SBA, a government organization. I got it before Trump, and now Biden's president. It doesn't matter. It hasn't affected it 1 ounce who's the president. Real things don't matter.
Right.
Everyone still got their $600.
Exactly. That's you know what's going to change for these people? Nothing.
Like nothing. And if they spent all this energy that they had at their career or a business,
Biden is talking about like.
Did you guys get $600?
Yeah, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fucking get it. It's bullshit.
The
rich aren't treated fair in this country.
I
didn't get it though.
I think they based it off of 2019 returns.
Yeah, I mean, I made too much. But yeah, so crazy times. And, you know, I'm going to take a deep breath when they say this is a moment we'll never forget. Like, but it's bad. Like storming the. I'll say it again. I was so proud of the Senators.
It's a moment we'll never forget. It's such a blemish.
We can't downplay it at all.
Like yeah, I mean, it was a coup on the government. Like we have a great system. It's embarrassing. And like the system is prevailing, which is I'm very happy with. But of course it would. Of course the system will always prevail.
Do you remember? I mean, this was like probably early October. I sent you this really, really long article from the Atlantic, and it was like, here's what could happen during the election. Here's what we anticipate might happen, like step by step, literally day by day, because they knew what was going to happen on each day. It predicted this.
Did they nail it?
Exactly. Like as if this guy traveled back in time.
Dude, Bill Maher is one of my favorite people. He's been talking about this forever. And he asked every single politician that came on a show, what are we going to do when this happens? And like they all said, well, I don't know. And he's like, we need better answers. But like, so now it's basically played out, and like. Biden will be the president. So, like, I trust the country that it's all going to work out. I'm curious to see Trump's optics going forward about will he shake his hand? Will he be there at the inauguration?
Oh, he just announced he's not going to be.
Did he?
Yeah, just saying.
Oh, what a pussy.
Like, that is kind of pussy. Like,
I hate him so much, dude. He's such a clown. Like,
he's such a brat.
Say what you will. This is like one of the worst years I can remember
bomb it
for somebody.
People are going to bomb it.
It's just so terrible. Oh, maybe. And then
like that energy about never losing there's positive ways to apply that, but this is not one of them.
It's crazy. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, so you were talking about how like the protests during the summer for the like racial injustice, like looting and burning down buildings, that's all awful too. And that takes away from whatever cause, at least there's a cause behind that. There's, but you know, those people were like, that was terrible. I hated that. This was terrible as well.
And the media covers it differently.
Right, but the people on both sides point the fingers. And then you look at like the election results of the election, and all the Trump supporters who in 2016 were like, oh my God, like figure out, like learn how to lose an election. You say he's not your president, blah, blah, grow up. It's like a cartoon. It's like satire.
That's like my main takeaway. Like
what is
I enjoyed I enjoyed like laughing at the people who lost a little bit. There's a lot of Trump wins highlight reels of people like crying and like like that's enjoyable.
These people are crazier. These people are crazier.
They're
in a different way.
They're more danger. They're more physically scary.
They're unhinged.
Yeah, I mean those people are unhinged too, but like they didn't go to force. They went more to like tweeting and shit like that.
Right. And then
like, they were babies. They were absolute babies, but this is babies too. Yeah.
Yep. And then I guess we'll see what happens. We have a couple of weeks left.
The story is kind of ongoing. But I'm proud of the country as far as watching those senators saying, like, listen, this is the country of laws. Our country is great and it will be fine. And like, whew. But goddamn, for liking Trump, this is super weird. And also, he's the Mad King.
Fuck Josh Hawley. But we can end on that.
Who's that?
It's slimy little C. He's a representative from somewhere in the South. You don't know Josh Hawley? He's like touted as one of the next. He wants to become the next Republican nominee, and he's just like leading it. He wants to be a Trump son so much. He's like a big time bootlicker.
It's interesting for Republican politicians now. Like if they want to get votes, they want those people,
right? Like
Ted Cruz wants that crowd to vote for him. But like he also wants like the Mike Pence Republicans, the like evangelicals. So like it's tough. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, there was Kanye West news. He got divorced. It's always sad to see love die.
No, he didn't though.
Yeah.
Did he get divorced?
Is that like there was stories about it? But
divorce is gonna be it's coming.
According to who?
Actually, you're right. I saw it on the New York Post, which is not the most credible source.
It says like sources say that it's leading to divorce.
But also like I believe it.
Shocker.
Just like,
yeah, right.
like, because I see the signs. I mean, and then the story about him sleeping with Jeffree Star.
Like,
and
come
who's
the
who's
fuck
Jeffree
on.
Star?
so if you don't know, have you seen a picture
Type
of him?
Google him
Nope.
right now.
If you see a picture of him, so he is a very, very famous, rich YouTuber, and he does makeup tutorials. And he's
Oh,
a cross dresser,
the young
transgender type guy.
Oh, this is not who I.
Yes.
Wait, who am I thinking of? I thought there's another one of these like makeup.
Yeah, I don't know. He's like face is like literally white and like long Goldilocks hair.
He looks like a skeleton.
He looks very weird.
That rumor,
And he's kind of like, I would say he's kind of comparable to like RuPaul, like in that that network, that audience.
He's a drag queen.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like. He's some type of transgender drag queen person.
Is he transgender or is he just?
Maybe
I
like
I don't know.
What's it called?
The name Jeffrey is a boy's name, so you would think.
Good point.
But
Like I think he's a man, like a biologically born one, because he's tall. He has an Adam's apple. If it turns out that him and Kanye are having some type of sexual relationship, I will be like
shocked,
disappointed, and shocked. And
why
not that I'm
because
Jeffree Star's a weirdo.
Get better than that.
Like I don't care that he's gay or transgender. I'm not judging that. I have all respect for Jeffree Star for being rich, successful, YouTuber, awesome. But like, he's weird. And like,
I mean, Kanye's
weird too.
Well. Right.
But like going from Kim Kardashian and like, wait, so Kanye's gay? Like, not that I care, but like,
you go from
that's something.
Kim Kardashian's big butt to like Jeffree.
That can't be true.
She's probably, I mean, Kim Kardashian's probably about as real as Jeffree Star is in terms of her appearance, but
Kim has class. Kim is
still it's fabulous.
Kim is awesome.
She has clout. I don't know if class is the word
I think she has class. I think she has class.
Her gained her notoriety. But
have you seen her on David Letterman's Next Guest?
Yeah, yes. I saw some of that.
Yeah,
I actually don't like that show.
And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you're beautiful. But
her lips. I mean, everything about her is fake. I love seeing the like old pictures versus new. But whatever, you choose to do whatever you want with your money.
Yeah.
I mean, she's successful.
And she's doing the lawyer thing. You got to give her some credit for that. And she is like, she's not unhinged by any means. She's calculated. She is presentable. I like her a lot. But interesting news week. Whose side do I take? Like, I mean, I started liking them both as individuals, and then I love them as a celebrity couple together because they were cute. Like it's been like 2 years, but like they were loving and sweet, and they had this family together. And like I remember Kanye put roses on the ground and played the piano for her. It was a great meeting of a couple that created a family. Like I thought that this could be the celebrity couple that like stays together, and I don't blame myself for thinking that at that time.
I do. I 100% do. I saw the one thing that he did where he had
4 kids.
He had Kenny G.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about.
And then also what he did recently where he had like the hologram of Robert Kardashian.
That's so nice.
Very thoughtful, but
very sweet.
I can't say I'm surprised. I don't care at all because I just don't.
Fair enough.
I'm not surprised.
Who has the higher bar, like going forward? Like, be more.
It's a good question. That's actually a good question.
More successful,
like
going forward, how do you define success?
Like,
for me, like it just depends on Kanye's music to answer that question, and I don't know the future of his music.
Or like
he has put out like a song here and there. He put out a song recently with
not Kodak.
Can't think of the name, but it was pretty good. But like it wasn't part of anything. And his whole thing is like he releases albums and like.
But he's also doing the Yeezy stuff, the stuff with Adidas and Gap. Like, that's big. He's always been.
I don't know a lot about that. Like I know that he's been doing the fashion stuff, but like people buy Yeezys, right? Like if I go to just the Yeezy.com and buy a pair of shoes and rock them, that's like cool. Like what? And then the shirts that he promoted are like the dumbest shirts. Like I guess I'm not a big clothes buyer of my own. I'm not like
he's
super
into
fashion guy.
He's like always been into fashion. He shops so much,
and that's a good route for him because he's like an artsy. Yeah.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see with Kanye and Kim. We'll see with Trump. I'm proud of the country, and it's been a crazy week.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing. Well, a lot of people. When I asked that question because a lot of people are saying that Kim, she's gonna go into politics, so she could have the.
She could be good. I mean, she could be good.
Imagine her as our next women.
Kanye's already into politics. Kanye got onto the ticket in some states. So
barely.
She's just a poser. No, they're I think that they'll both be super successful and making billions of dollars. But I just don't care.
I hope Kanye kind of like, my one wish for Kanye is him to kind of pivot from the overly religious stuff, which I actually predict that he will. That's my prediction. I predict that he will pivot from like, his next album will have curses and talk about titties and shit like that. Yeah. Like, so that's what I hope, because that music's a little bit better.
All right, y'all. First question.
All right, should we start the podcast? That was our opening chat, but we have structure to this podcast, like we have. All right, so Brandon, question number 1.
All right, question 1. What are the top 4 worst looks of all time?
Ooh, bad looks. There's a lot of them.
I actually have like a couple extra.
Oh, me too. Okay.
I mean,
like your show.
Okay, all right. I didn't do anything with this protest, like the guys
Me neither.
Holding the Confederate flag at the Capitol building, which is obviously a bad look. I think that might even be how we thought of this. Like, wow, this is a bad look. Oh, we should do top bad looks.
I think it was
so I didn't include
the way
like
Trump handled it, yeah.
The way Trump handled a terrible look, of course. My number 1 is from the world of sports, and this is probably my most memorable sports moment of my life. 2018 NBA Finals, Game 1, Cavs versus Warriors. The Warriors have Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Cavs don't have Kyrie anymore. The Warriors are huge favorites. In Game 1, the Cavs are on the road, and if they're in the game, it's tied, and they have a free throw to win the game with like 4 seconds left. I think it was George Hill shoots the free throw, misses it. They could steal Game 1 on the road, but J.R. Smith gets the rebound, and all he's got to do is put a little hook up, a little layup to win the game on the buzzer, and he runs out to half court, dribbling the ball, thinking that they were up. And LeBron screams at him. He tries to pass it, and then they go into overtime and lose. And I think they got swept, or it was.
It just destroyed
gentlemen.
I was. Oh yeah, was it 4-1 that series?
I think so.
I will never forget that moment. I was watching it by myself on the couch drinking wine, and I was appalled. It was such a bad look. A professional athlete not knowing the score in the NBA Finals in an intense moment. Like, the one thing I know from playing basketball is like when free throws come, it's time to like, all right, check the score. I got shooter. I'm gonna box out the shooter. Like, someone get back. Like, it's kind of time to resettle.
Yep.
And J.R. Smith, known for being kind of a dummy, like,
known for being like he's claimed that he's like smoked before games.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on,
he's a
dude,
super talented athlete, very good player, great shooter, good dunker.
Yep.
Just not like a.
And just imagine what he was thinking of before, like the shot went up. Like, what was going through his mind? Like,
yo, we got this. We're winning. He must have thought. No. He had to think we were winning.
But
he's a professional athlete. He's a professional athlete performing at the peak of athletics and the peak of competition. And like, he was in the game because he was doing well. Like, the guy can shoot the lights out. Like, he was thinking. He was thinking we're up. He was thinking we're up.
Right, but he's also like clearly not locked in. Like, it's one thing if this was like
because he was wrong.
If this was like, no teams
third quarter,
and it was like even if it was like fast break after fast break, and it's like heat of the moment, it was dead ball. So like, even if you were like kind of scatterbrained, you look up at the clock, you see the situation.
In college basketball, the Fab Five, Michigan, Chris Webber's famous moment is calling a timeout. That's bad. This is worse. This is worse. I understand like the instincts of calling a timeout when you're trapped. Like, oh, we forgot we didn't have any timeouts. This is much less understandable. It's such a bad look for an athlete, and it's almost like diminishes everything for the kids out in the parking lot playing basketball, like who want to dream to be an athlete. This guy just didn't know the score. It was a bad look.
As much as I dislike LeBron, I did love his like one thing I give him credit for. He's a great player, great athlete, and he clearly is so invested and cares so much. And he looked like he was in tears. He was like,
it's funny because there was
all that game. He scored like 60, 50.
No, actually, I watched this many times. There was like 4 seconds left when he got the rebound. LeBron and he started dribbling out. The first second, LeBron actually thought, "Shit, I think I had the score wrong," because he was kind of like this, and then he looked at the clock and he's like, "Ball." And then, like, for the first second, LeBron was confused, and there was only 4 seconds. LeBron was like, "Oh wait, did I have the score wrong?" It was such a bad look for any athlete.
And again, he's claimed that he used to claim that he's like smokes before games, so he was better high. So like this just maybe that's
he should have got high, like whatever.
And then also his reaction, he was like just like mouth open, like.
I think like when he sat on the bench. I think when he sat on the bench though, it started to weigh on him a little bit.
He's like, oh shit. Yeah.
And oh my God, that's the tweets. Like the tweets, it was such a bad look.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Do you know no, you know what? I'll go with Rudy Gobert. beginning of this year.
Oh, that's a good one, dude.
Such a bad look. So this
oh
was
my god!
like
I could see myself doing that
because we didn't before coronavirus. I mean, that was the day.
Yeah, lay it out.
Everything. Yeah. So the day that everything became real with the coronavirus here. Before this, it was all something that happened overseas. Even in Europe, it was like, okay, this is a little bit more real, but it's the virus has not come to the United States, or so we thought. And then during or right before the Jazz, I forget who the Jazz were playing. Maybe Oklahoma
Thunder.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And turns out that two players, or Rudy Gobert himself, had tested positive for coronavirus. So games were canceled. Like an hour later,
talk about the locker room. Was that after? Okay,
that was after. So we got a notification from ESPN. NBA has suspended all games indefinitely, and that I remember my heart like dropping. Like, oh my god,
Me too.
Life is changing. I've never seen anything like this. And then after the fact, it turns out like Rudy Gobert was getting an interview, and that had happened before the game. That happened like the day before. I thought. But questions were revolving around the coronavirus. Do you think it's going to be a big deal? Blah, blah, blah. And he was downplayed it, said, no, it's no big deal. And on his way out, as a joke, he was like, oh, like licked his hands and started touching all the microphones and water bottles. And was like, oh, I'm going to get you guys coronavirus. Come to find out, he's the first notable person to have coronavirus. And life changed forever after that. Such a bad look.
Dude, I could like see myself doing something like that.
And they actually hated each other. They wanted to fight
like,
each other.
Of course.
That's such a bad luck with how everything turned out with the coronavirus. He said
obviously he didn't know.
The journalists were kind of egging him on, asking him about it, and he didn't like do it at first, but the journalists are annoying. I'm sure they were egging him, and so finally he was just he literally went to the microphone and went touched everything like now you're all gonna
such a
and
bad
then
luck.
his superstar teammate ended up getting it.
Right.
Like
a year later, 2 million people dead.
Like you can look at that as like for me, that's like the catalyst. That's when everything changed was the NBA, and he is the reason for it. And the optics of him having done that as a joke, like it was
bad luck.
Just such a bad look. Yeah.
It's funny how both of our first ones were in sports.
I know.
But that's a good one. That is a good one. Replaying that. Dude, I think he had to have come out and make a formal apology and all that stuff.
Of course. And then he got it and he was like sick. But
of course,
he probably overplayed that a little bit, because he was like, oh, I'm really sick. So people didn't hate him that much because, all right, you get what you deserve. But that was bad luck. Bad luck.
Bad luck. Good one. All right. My number 2 is my probably favorite news story of the past decade.
I think I have this
for some reason. You think I mean, I guess I got some backups, but I don't know. I'm going with it. I don't know if you know. Jussie Smollett.
Yep.
Is that what you thought it was?
Yep.
Dude, I'm taking this one because I love this story. I love it so much because the whole conversation about race, like my personal take on it is very simple. It's that skin color doesn't matter and everything can run through that filter. Other things matter, but skin color doesn't. And I just hate the idea of America being a racist country, all that stuff. And we won't need to go there. But he is one of these very virtuous people that's like, fight for our rights and all. That's like, and he's an actor. So he plays into that role of the social justice king. And I never knew who he was before this. A lot of people didn't. And it blew and he faked his getting beat up by 2 Trump supporters in Chicago in the middle of the night with hats on. And he said they poured bleach on him and put a noose around his neck. So I guess I understand the noose reference because like slavery and lynching, but I never understood the bleach reference. And I guess were they trying
white?
It turns his skin to white.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it was very much written by like a corny network TV writer type situation. Yeah. And then when the police went to interview him at his house, he had the noose like still around him and they're like, yo, you could take that off, man. And then he goes on with Robin Roberts on ABC and puts on an amazing performance.
Great. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Amazing performance. It is well thought out. It is emotional at the right times. And like to the people who think this why? And like I never could register. It was a big thing for me because I looked at it as kind of a win for my viewpoint about how skin color doesn't matter and like I never triggered like becoming a victim on purpose to get notoriety. I never, that was like something my brain had to process for a little bit, and it really confused me. He wanted to get beat up by 2 Trump supporters so that he could play the victim card in order to like get more fame. And that took a long time for me to process. Like, and by a long time, I mean like a couple days, and talking to people about it. Like, and I guess I kind of get it. Like, because he was always talking about this justice, and if he had his own personal story to tie to it, it would make it more credible. And he, with Martin Luther King, and like he could be one of those people painted on a mural that overcame hatred. Like that's what he was going for. And like I love the fact that it actually didn't happen to him. And like, and then the other hilarious part is how bad it was written out. He got his.
He paid them.
He could have just said it. Like,
right. I don't understand that part. Like, I guess he was afraid, like, oh, this we'll have it on camera.
Okay, but the 2 guys on camera are black.
I know, dude. It was the worst.
And then the actual like legal bad part about it, like all that stuff is like whatever. But the bad part was he had the Chicago police on the taxpayer's dime looking for 2 men. Like that was actually what he got in trouble for. You're allowed to fake shit if you want. It's not against the law, but when you lie to a police officer, that's obstruction of justice. Like, and that's when it got into legal trouble. And then it was so easy to trace the crime. They had the 2 guys buying the supplies on a camera at the store. They had the check.
Didn't he write something in the? He like wrote something in the memo, like
I don't know. I don't know about
Dude,
that. I didn't know.
Yeah,
and like. The check is very traceable because if you go to your bank account, you click on it, it brings up the image of the check. Like if you went to the ATM, got cash out, gave him cash, you can't trace that. Right. Like a check. First of all, who the fuck has checks anymore? Right. I get mad every time I lay my eyes on a check. The last time I seen a check was digging through my drawers to find one for Brandon. And that was last podcast. Yeah. Did dig through my drawers to find that.
I know you're not a huge Dave Chappelle fan. Have you ever seen his bit on this?
I have, but refresh my memory what his take was on it.
He's like, the reason, like a lot of the white people that heard this story that are on the left were like outraged, but you didn't hear a whole lot from the black community, because he's like, we heard the story and we were like, something doesn't smell right. He's like, all right, so you went out at 2 a.m. and where were you going? This is the police. He's like, we're going to Subway. It's like, sandwiches, okay? And you were walking. He's like, yeah, and these 2 white guys.
It was so cold, by the way. It was so cold.
These 2 mega guys came up to me with hats on and said, "You're that," because he's gay too. Right?
Yeah,
right. Like, you're that F word, N word from Empire. And he's like,
why would they watch Empire?
How would they know? He's like, Chappelle is like, that doesn't sound right. That sounds like something I would say. Like, what? And it was like right on his tongue. And he's like, we all knew that sounded fishy.
Yeah.
But regardless, what a.
And then like, this is MAGA country. Like that's not a thing that they would say. Right. And also like, why would they be in Chicago in the middle of the night and recognize him?
And this is in Chicago. Like,
and like they didn't know he would, like, did these guys just walk around with a noose and a thing of bleach at all times in case they see a famous gay black person? Like, because there's other gay black people too.
Right.
Like it didn't add up. And the reason I liked the story was because I thought it was unifying as far as people who like are conservative, they're like, see, there is no racism. People who might think there is racism are like, damn, I guess there like isn't as much as we thought. And then even black people are like, dude, I'm not with him. Like this makes us look bad. So I thought it was like a unifying moment where like everyone's just like, dude, this is so stupid.
It's weird, like to see people.
It's a bad look
like that, like out of nowhere too. Like this wasn't prompted. Nobody asked him a question. He just out of nowhere, poof, this idea came into his head, and he just completely destroyed himself. Yeah, I
respect the effort as far as trying to manufacture an event that looked natural in order to increase his fame. Like that takes balls, dude. Yeah. That takes balls. So I respect that element of it, but it is one of the worst looks ever. It's
the most flawed execution of a plan of all time.
He didn't think anything through. Crime. Like he has to have a weird ego to think.
This is a plan that came together and it seemingly came together in 35 seconds, but had to have been way more premeditated, where he had time to figure out the details. Just an awful look.
And let me wrap up with how much I love this story. When I went to Chicago, and I went after this, I spent one entire afternoon with Shelby, my brother, and his girlfriend with one objective, and it was to find the subway that Jesse Smollett went to. It's not, I searched throughout the entire internet. I had to do some detective work. I had to look up where the story was. I tried to find a police report. I think I found it. And I went into the subway, and I was going to ask the lady if this was it. And I did all this work to find it. And the lady was there was a little bit of a line, and the lady was so snotty that I was like, oh, I'm not going to ask it. But I think I found it. I think I found the subway. I should have asked. God damn, looking back now as I'm saying this out loud, I should have just asked her.
I can't believe you didn't, but
I can't believe I didn't either now that I'm saying this out loud.
But I also wouldn't have spent an entire afternoon. I would have just gone to Subway.
But I already spent the entire afternoon.
Right.
And it was kind of fun. It was detective work, and we were in Chicago, and we were just kind of trying to explore the city anyway.
Yep.
But I thought it was a very unifying story, and it was such a bad look, and he will obviously never be able to recover from this.
Right.
And it had the opposite. It had kind of an effect that he wanted, as far as he is very more famous now than he ever would have been, but not what he wanted.
Employable now.
Yeah, sure. And as far as his bank account, it's not good. It's probably not good as far as getting more shows and getting speaking arrangements. He never is going to have credibility again.
Absolutely.
He should do admit that he was wrong and kind of a recovery situation, kind of like what Lance Armstrong did. That's the approach he should take.
Cross that one off the list, I guess.
No, okay.
Lance, I would say no. I have a bunch, but that was one. There's a few that are kind of in the same vein. But really quick, Lance Armstrong that was terrible.
That was one of yours?
Yeah, I mean it was on my list. Yeah, it was terrible.
Wow,
because he went from, martyr, or he went from hero.
That just popped out of my mouth. I didn't think of that one.
But yeah, that's a great one. I had that as well. That was an unbelievable story, and
unbelievable story.
Like you said, it was unifying. Everybody can agree that guy's an asshole.
Yeah. That's mine.
Right,
that's
cool.
My second one.
So this is a recent one, number 2 for me. Hilaria Baldwin. Do you know this?
I don't know a lot about it. Inform me.
Okay, so
Alex Baldwin's wife, right?
Alec Baldwin. Yeah, his wife is this Spanish woman, yoga instructor, very exotic. She has gone on all these cooking shows. I've seen clips of her. Anyway, she's from Spain.
Does she have an accent?
Big time accent.
Okay.
Her name's Hilaria, spelled like Hillary because her name's Hillary Baldwin. She was born in Boston, grew up in Massachusetts. She does not have an accent. None of her family is Spanish. She has family that lives in Spain, but she vacationed there and spent time there. She's not Spanish. There's video of her on doing cooking demonstrations on the Today Show where she's talking and she's like, "Can you pass me how you say in English cucumbers?" She's pretending she doesn't speak the language. Turns out she's just a normal girl from Boston who wanted to be famous and wanted to seem exotic. And
actually didn't really know this. What? I didn't know this.
Her parents are both.
I saw some headline with her recently, something about her being fake, but I didn't dive into it. Wait, so she's born in Boston?
Yep, raised in Boston. All of her family is none of her family lived in.
But
her parents retired to Spain after the fact, and she could have just been oh, I spent time, we vacationed in Spain,
And her name is Hillary Baldwin, and right. I don't actually know what she looks like off the top of my head. Is she white?
Yes, but
because some Spanish people are white. People from Spain are white.
She's more tan than a white Spanish person.
Okay. So it works saying she's from Spain. She pulled it off
flawlessly.
She's not saying she's from Mexico or
correct.
Brazil. She's saying
even
she's from Spain.
If she said she was Mexican, it would be believable. And her accent, I've heard all these Spanish people say flawless. Her Spanish.
So my question would be, when did she start pulling this heist off? And Boston, Apakia Khan Havajad,
I know.
How did it come out? And there's clearly must be any footage of her from the past. And how did it come out? What happened to make the story?
TMZ just I don't know how they were tipped, but they figured it out. I don't know.
Did she talk different at home? Did she?
Interview to interview, she did. There's some interviews where her accent's strong, others where it's not, and then even some that she goes in and out of it, which is bizarre. But the weird thing to me, so she was, I think, a model, so it makes sense. I understand her motive behind doing this because she wanted to be exotic and different. And she's there's interviews of her talking about her family in Spain, and she's visibly excited. And
you said she cooked a Mexican dish or a Spanish dish on the Today Show.
I don't know if it was a Spanish dish, but she pretended she didn't know the word for cucumber. She's how you say in English cucumbers. and she talks like this, and she has a very, very thick accent, but she's just from Boston. And what I don't get is, how did this not get exposed sooner? Like, she has to have people that knew her in Boston. She's high profile. She's Alec Baldwin's.
Like, I was gonna say, she's like not as high profile as Alec Baldwin, so she probably went under the radar like a little bit, but still high profile.
So
like, I never knew she was.
He knew about the act. He knew like the act.
Well, of course he knew. I would assume.
I don't know.
What if she tricked Alec?
It seems like she did. It seems like he didn't know, but I don't know. That's speculation. But regardless, like, if you tried to pull this off, don't you think somebody from your life or your high school would be like,
it is so hard to pull off.
Taylor Swift's husband is not Spanish. You went to Plymouth White Marsh High School. No, like, this is not
right.
True. How did that not happen yet? I don't get that.
It's so elaborate, and it must be so exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest thing for her to do would be actually change her accent, and then like, if she's talking differently at home, it's very interesting. And this is something I would have much more trouble understanding before my brain processing the Jussie Smollett stuff. I process it quicker now than I would have in the past.
And this goes along with,
it's a bad look.
There's another one. Yeah, bad look.
Don't
I'll let you go.
fake. Yeah. Okay. All right. My third one is very simple, and it's a different take on how we're doing this. Everyone's been wearing masks lately because of the virus, but the people who wear the plastic face shields, I cannot stop laughing at them every time I see one.
I love it. I
think it's such a bad look. I think it's such a bad look. Like, I think, and I tried to like take the bad look thing and interpret it in a different way. Like, every time I see someone with it, I'd like giggle because it's like, oh, like, I've gotten used to people with regular masks. Like, but when I see one of those, and then also, I'm no fucking expert, but like, doesn't it seem like it could get underneath it?
Yeah, I don't think it
like
does.
It
can't be as effective.
So let me use something less effective that's way more goofy and cartoonish. Right. And I think I just think it like looks bad.
With a mask and the face shield combined.
Okay, I mean, that
super.
is hilarious. Like it's kind of like when I saw that girl kick, I was like,
yeah.
I just do. And there's not enough of them where like I've adjusted to it yet. So every time I see someone with it, I laugh, and it's like a big ass thing on your face, and like I just think it looks bad, and I wanted to interpret something differently. And
I love. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The first time I saw it was Andy Reid, the first NFL game this year, and it was like rainy and kind of foggy.
And he doesn't wear it anymore.
Like a fat guy, but he did, and
he did.
It would.
He looks so dumb.
Fogging up. It wouldn't stop fogging up. So he's like soaking wet, and he keeps wiping it down, and he's just like, Andy Reid's kind of like.
He needs a little windshield wiper.
It was so funny because you could tell he's like, you feel like he has barbecue sauce on his fingers, so he can't do it because Andy Reid's like a fat slob. So like he's just like a little kid who can't do anything about it. Oh, I love this so much. I love it.
Yeah, he looks.
I love it. I mean, no. I mean that in the most endearing way possible.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But
dude, he's a fat slob, and he's like his kid's like a druggie my point is he's obsessed with football.
His kid
overdose.
Right.
He's not the best dad. He's not the most healthy guy. He is just sitting there every day, shoving food in his face, watching film, coaching football. Football is all he knows. Like, it's so he just someone's like, what's the corona? He probably popped out of the playbook like, what's the coronavirus? They're like, just put this on, and then it's like, yeah, look. But we'll move on from this one. I just wanted to interpret it differently. But I have one other thing in this realm, and it's just wearing jeans to the gym. I think that just like. It just looks bad, and I want to interpret it differently.
I'll say jeans with a blazer. I've done it before. I hate that look.
I think it has its place.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, but that's mine.
So mine is like an event that happened. I'm sure you remember Ashley Simpson on SNL. It's like one of the worst.
I was thinking about that one.
Terrible look. She got caught. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, she got caught lip syncing. She had played the song "Pieces of Me," which was a hit. Ashley Simpson was like on a trajectory because her sister was famous.
She was,
and
she had some hit radio songs.
Who? Ashley Simpson. Pieces of Me is a jam, and her sister was like rising because she was on the Newlywed Show, whatever it was called. With, Nick Lachey. And then so they first come out, they play Pieces of Me, they kill it. Her band, everything's great. And then she goes out for her second song, and she's going to sing a different one. And the band starts playing the music for the second song, but the vocal track for Pieces of Me plays again. So she's there, caught red-handed lip syncing, and she doesn't know what to do. She's looking around, and she starts like doing this awkward dance and like a little jig, and everybody knows what's going on. And it took like the crowd a little bit to realize it, but that was like a huge deal. I feel like it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Dude, right. I was just about to say, I agree that that's a bad look, mostly based upon, one, how she handled it. She like ran off stage. She did literally a jig. And then, she did a jig, and that's a perfect word to describe it. And then she ran off stage. I think everyone learned like around then that all performances do have lip syncs.
Sure.
And like it makes sense. What they do is they play it in the background like faintly, and then the microphone works though. Like Mariah Carey like will have the little faint background, but it makes sense for a live performance to have that playing. And then you can kind of, because even a lot of radio songs, they have like 2 tracks over them. Mm-hmm. It'll have like the song or the chorus, and then they'll hit a big note. And like, does the people think that they're doing those things simultaneously? It's impossible. So for a live performance, it makes sense.
I mean, I don't like it. I think disingenuous. I'd rather see a band or a performer like.
But if you see them hit the high note, it doesn't mean that the high note's fake. Like they are singing. It's just for like continuity in a live performance.
But it does mean it's fake. Like if you see Adele or Sia or Lady Gaga, they're singing
into
live.
The microphone is real.
Right, but you're not hearing it.
But they might have.
What you're hearing is pre-recorded. Lip syncing is like it's a big time fraud.
I think there's a difference between lip syncing and playing a little bit of the audio track lightly underneath it for a live performance. And if you're up there with a microphone in your hand and you're literally like moving your mouth but having no noise come out, that's fraudulent.
That's not. Well, you're still singing, but what is playing on the speakers is not your live vocals. It's like pre-recorded track.
So what I accept, bullshit. What I accept is some pre-recorded sound in the background that is vocals, but every single microphone sound that's coming is real. Okay. And like that background is just kind of for like, right? True. Like I guess you're right. Lip syncing is moving your mouth without sound coming out,
but
and that's
not even. You can sing
or turning the mic off.
Right. That's basic. That's what it is.
Okay.
And
I'm saying as long as the mic on, I'm good with it.
Sure. Right, but that's not like. Okay, I understand what you're saying. That's not like lip sync. I think every performer has that for timing or whatever. But
so in Ashley Simpson's first performance of Pieces of Me, was she lip syncing?
Yes, the same.
Okay, and then it exposed that in the second song. And dude, I agree that was a bad look. Like I actually thought about putting that on my list because how epic it was. Family Guy mocked it. That big of a deal? So many people mocked it. I agree. So this actually happened to Mariah Carey 2 New Years ago. And it was so worse than Ashley Simpson because she stayed out there like, did you see that, Mariah Carey?
No, I would thought you were talking about when they exposed her actual vocals. Have you heard that? Where like they isolated what she was actually singing? Ooh.
No. On New Year's Eve, the ABC broadcast, I think 2018, Mariah Carey was one of the headline performers. And she came out for a 7-minute thing with full background dancers, and she didn't say a word. She stood there like this. I guess something went wrong. I don't know if it was not the song she expected, but she literally stood on stage for 7 minutes, like sluggishly, like she said, "Happy New Year's." And then she's like said to the crowd, like, "Why don't you guys sing?" And the funniest part about it was the 7 background dancers performed flawlessly. They kept going like with her whole little dance and everything. And like she punted on the entire performance. And I don't know what the story was. And apparently she didn't show up to rehearsal. But that was another example of a live performance going wrong. And on that performance, there was a little bit of her vocals in the background. Her mic worked though, because she was saying like,
right,
sorry about this. Like it was a very embarrassing 7 minutes. It was a more embarrassing 7 minutes than Ashley Simpson. But I feel like the Ashley Simpson thing was a bigger deal because she, and what part of it was she ran off stage.
And she had a show. She had her own reality show at the time that was being filmed. And it
ruined her career.
Yeah, her career was over after that.
And for some reason, it was a bad look. Yeah, bad luck. That's a good one.
Really bad.
I thought about doing that. All right, my fourth one is I'm not a huge stand-up comedy fan. I like podcasts. My favorite person that is a comedian is Chris D'Elia, and he always has been. And he had a podcast that came out, and I like the performances that he's done as an actor. Like I've seen him do little roles. Justin Bieber likes him. He was on the Justin Bieber roast. He's slowly like climbed up to fame. And my favorite thing about his
I've seen him live. I saw him live.
He was funny in Workaholics.
All right, hold on that. And I love Chris D'Elia. And my favorite thing about Chris D'Elia actually is that his podcast came out. I liked it. And Shelby also liked it. So like me and her, we don't listen to a lot of the same stuff. Me and her like both like Crystalia. That made me like him more because Shelby, doesn't. There's just something about Crystalia that I love. He's so funny. He's goofy. He's stupid. I love Crystalia. So recently it came out that he had interactions and sexual stuff with like 17, 16, 17-year-old young girls. And two things about it were a bad look. One is since those accusations came out, he has not said one word publicly. He has not made one tweet, one Instagram post. He literally went silent. And like, he would be the perfect type of person to provide some funny commentary on this topic. It's not the same as Louis C.K. because Louis C.K. always makes jokes about masturbating, gets in trouble for masturbating in front of someone.
It also wasn't kids. That's the big thing.
Right. Like Louis C.K. is the perfect joke for like
pervert,
what he.
And that was weird, really weird. And
kids is always a weird topic.
This is
right. And now
there's no gray area there.
I mean, there's a difference between 12 and like a girl that's turning 18 in a month. Either way, but he's like 35. It's bad. It's illegal. It's so wrong. Creepy. And so the first bad look is the fact that he hasn't said a damn word. I would love to know what he's thinking. And he would be funny being like the pity party thing. And the second bad look is the fact that two of his biggest roles as an actor are him playing pedophiles.
What's the other one? I know the one in Workaholics.
The Workaholics, he had a show where...
Right.
I never watched the show,
right?
A Netflix show that Shelby watched. It was a show that Shelby watched because it's more for girls. And then when Shelby saw Crystalia, right? Yes, it was called You. I never watched the show. I think it was a show more focused towards girls. I don't know. Shelby was actually watching it like on her own time. And then she was so excited. You know how when you watch a show and you see an actor you like in it, you're like, it makes you like it even more. Like Shelby was like, Crystalia's in it. And Shelby told me about it. Like she didn't tell me about the show You. She told me like Crystalia's in the show You. And the fact that he plays a pedophile is so funny because he's a comedian. His role in Workaholics was so funny. Like because playing a pedophile is funny. Like when it's on a TV show.
One's funny. Right.
Playing one's funny on a TV show because it's just a funny ass like thing to mock a little bit in a TV show, especially a super comedic TV show.
Right.
So he has accusations that come out. And there was that clip, the most viral clip was him on a podcast and someone said, someone got in trouble for hooking up with a teacher. And he's like, wait, don't Snapchats go away. And then the producer was like, well, you can record it and screenshot it. And then like they zoom in on him with like the curb music. It was that's the funniest part. Yeah. So between him playing a pedophile in other TV shows, getting accused of these things and having most people that get accused of something, they come out and say, this isn't true. Like no public thing. It's a bad look as far as the way that he is. It's got to be true.
It's got to be true, and he's like he has now punted on having a career after this, right? He can't come back, man. I mean, he can't.
That's
if
the thing about
if he were to have a career, he has to have.
I think this might be what he's thinking, and this might be his best bet. Like his best bet now is to let enough time pass. He is somebody that is like dumb enough and silly enough that might be like forgivable in some route. Unlikely, but like Jesse Smollett
maybe could have pulled it off had he.
Well, he didn't do anything yet. I don't know. Like
that's what I mean.
Jesse Smollett fought in court. Like that makes it worse. I think Crystalia is actually genuinely so heartbroken at home and so sad about this.
He shouldn't be heartbroken. I mean,
no, he should be because he should be. No, he gets pity for me because
you can't get heartbroken.
Dude, I mean, so there is no
we don't really know.
There's no accusations that he had sex.
If they lied, then he could have.
He liked younger women. And there is no.
If they lied, he could have like stuck up for himself.
No, I mean, and like the screenshots of the conversations, there is nothing wrong with a 35-year-old having sex with a 19-year-old, right? I mean, it's legal, and he likes younger women. Like, okay, I mean, he's a kid. He's silly. Like, I could get why he might like a younger girl that's like silly. Like, he's silly. So if he likes younger girls and at his concerts, he kind of like finds the younger girls and like hooks up with them on the road. That's the life of a comic. If they're 19, 20, 21, like that's the girls he likes. Like
they're not 19, 20, 21.
So
these are girls that have like their learner's permit.
No, they were 17 in a few months. 16. I'm not defending it. It's illegal. And it's morally wrong. But on a 17 to 18th birthday. The day before, was it moral? And the day after, was it moral? I mean, the day before it was illegal. The day after it is legal, and it's illegal.
I would say it's still immoral to, but regardless,
and that's
like,
fair.
These are like 16-year-olds.
And like 22,
one of them
if you're
15. One of them was like 15.
No, dude, they were.
I think so.
They were 17, 18. And all he did was chat with them.
If they were 18, then there's no conversation. They weren't not 18.
Well, you just said it was morally wrong, so like that's bad.
Yeah, but
I don't necessarily disagree, but it's a conversation if she's 17, 19 months, and all he did was like send her a message that said like, "Hey, you want to make out my off?" Like is it illegal to do that? I mean,
yes.
I think there's enough innocence there where but honestly, I'm giving him this. I don't think that he thinks this. I think that he feels so bad and so guilty and so understanding that what he did was wrong that he is literally at home thinking, I don't deserve to have a career. And that is the right action to take for him to maybe someday in the future have
could have apologized or said something or
Dude,
denied it.
He has too much shame to even do that.
We'll grow up. Like
he doesn't even care about your opinion or my opinion. He just is so shameful that he doesn't have anything to say. So and then my point about that is that those actions are a little possibly forgivable. I think Louis C.K. is a million. I think
16.
Dude,
I mean, one of the girls now,
but it wasn't like fucking. It was chats. It wasn't like he fucked them or raped them. It was he was DMing with them, chatting with them. And that's not good. I'm not approving it. I'm not saying it's okay. I don't think that. Like I'm just saying I see a potential future path for how much bad that he feels that maybe there could be some forgiveness pass in the future. And I don't even think he sees it. I'm saying for him maybe there is, but
it just seems like he has no interest. It seems like he has no interest in doing that, right?
Especially, it seems like there's no interest with doing that, right?
And
it's such a bad.
Well,
he did
to settle down.
He did. He did. I think
he actually like as a fan of his who followed his podcast. Well, he was actually married when he was like 24. Chris D'Elia's like 38.
Right.
He was married when he was 34, divorced. Weirdly, want to hear something weird though? As a fan of his, listening to his podcast, talking about his personal life, one day he was like, "I have a daughter," and now he was talking about the birth of his daughter, but like. It was weird. Even Shelby, as a fan, kind of listened to his podcast. You know, he doesn't sit there and talk about his personal life the whole time. But all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, I just had a daughter. It's very exciting, and it's crazy when you're a dad and how exciting it is." Like everyone was like, "What?" But it was a bad look as far as in my point of course the accusations are a bad look. I'm saying they're not saying anything, and then the fact that he played a pedophile. And his actions are unforgivable. I think Louis C.K.'s actions are forgivable based upon who he is.
Definitely.
Not the same with Chris D'Elia. What were you going to say?
What Louis did was creepy for sure. What Chris D'Elia did was super creepy and like in a way different way.
Possibly illegal.
Plus, I mean, definitely illegal. He's soliciting, but whatever.
Jail.
Soliciting, right.
Because there's a...
the morally wrong part of what he did was take advantage of their innocence.
And like
take advantage of the fact that they were young, using the fact that they're young and naive to his advantage is the moral part that's wrong.
And also that they're in 10th grade. That's so creepy, dude.
I mean,
the fact that like you're trying to...
That sounds terrible in 10th grade. I mean, I'm saying if you're 17 and 364 days, and then...
that's not the case though.
And they're mature and they're developed. And then one day later, the morals there, I can understand.
Different conversation.
Illegal.
Is anything?
I don't think anyone was 15. I don't think anyone was 15.
16.
Okay. All right.
Dude,
I mean,
this isn't 17.999 years old.
I mean, I don't know how old they were. I just know they were like 16, 17 and like whatever. I'm not justifying it. It's morally wrong to take advantage of their innocence for your sexual advantage. I'm not condoning it.
I know. Brandon, what were you saying?
I was like, oh no, I was just saying like, is it forgivable at all?
No, Hacker's the PC police.
No, I'm not the PC. I just think it's
20 years
super
from
creepy.
Now, can he still be forgiven?
I think if he wanted to, then he should have addressed it. It said something. The fact that he hasn't spoken, like he was a public figure.
See, I know I probably know his personality better than you.
I listen to his podcast every now and then.
I know his personality pretty well.
But you know what's weird? Not a single one of his friends stuck up for him, said anything positive about it. Yeah. They all were like, "This guy lied to us. He's creepy." Like
No,
way
I,
creepy.
don't know. I disagree. They said I don't condone if this is true, and they did distance themselves. But they said in my experiences with Chris, he's always a great guy. He's so funny.
Right.
I love
but
him.
They haven't heard from him. They're like, yeah, like I'm heartbroken. I haven't,
Right. I don't think they threw. I don't think they completely threw him under the bus, but they did distance themselves, and they did say if this is true. I don't
didn't throw
condone
him
it.
under the bus, but they definitely were like nobody was like came to bat for him.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone understands. Like, I mean, these are like what you're saying about 17.9 years old or whatever. That's not what this was. It is 16-year-olds. It's creepy. The guy's almost 40 years old. Like, that's weird.
But we also have to say, like, even with those accusations, if it wasn't true, like your career is basically ended, true or not. Like,
not if he was like, this is not true.
Dude, like, I think it was true. I think none of those screenshots were doctored.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like, and there was actually also screenshots where he said, "How old are you?" She's like 18 or 17. He's like, "That's too young." But then, like, so here's the thing: when you're a comedian, you go road to road. So next time he was in Cleveland, he hit that girl back up, or whatever city. I don't know what's.
I did see one where it's like, "How old are you?" He's like, "Oh, that's too young," and then he like kept talking to her, and he was just saying,
But he wasn't like talking to her sexually, like, let's hook up. He was just chatting. Like, he's silly. Like,
I think it's
and honestly,
creepy.
what I think he was thinking at that time is 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when I'm on the road back in this city, I now have a contact where I can bang some hot chick that's 22 years old. I think that's probably why he kept the conversation going a little bit, and like he's just goofy and like.
Agree to disagree.
I
think he's.
But bad luck. We agree on bad luck.
Bad luck for sure. Big time bad luck. All right, my last one is Lady Gaga wearing that dress made of meat to the award show.
Yo, it's funny we thought about a lot of the same things because I was actually thinking Met Gala stuff, and I was thinking what was the worst one.
Terrible. I think that was the VMAs, but she like accepted an award wearing a dress made of meat. There was also, I think the next year she came in an egg. One year she dressed as do you remember there was one year she went to an award show and she was in character as like Joey Boombats or something, and she was like a greaser, like a man, and like she would only be called Joe or Joey. I forget what the last name was.
Dude, we've generally agreed on most of these. Like, I'm gonna disagree. I like the meat. I like the meat
dress, dude. Meat dress.
I think
I'm okay. I love Sia, and I love that she covers her face. The meat dress was just not a good look. Like, it didn't look good.
Okay, yeah.
That's a warm meat. Like sitting down, did she sit on a cloth seat with a meat dress? It was just so gross. So
there actually is a lot of questions about the meat dress, like the smell,
logistically,
the logistically, like the underwear situation, the under
slippery.
Like how did it stay? Like and what meat was it? What type of meat was it? I don't have a picture in front of me.
It looked like beef,
like roast beef, because like skinny enough to like attach it.
It was raw. It was raw.
But I don't, like when I think of beef. Like, it wasn't like a meatloaf. It was like the deli. It was like deli. It was. Maybe we got to put up a picture of this. All right, I'm just gonna real quick Google meat dress.
It was like pieces of flank steak.
Do you like
okay?
Just throw it away afterwards, right?
Like it almost looks like if someone told me that it was like not real meat and it was like images on the dress, I would believe it. I don't know. I like when people do silly shit like that. Dude, she has shoes made out of it. Like.
Yeah,
there's some weird questions there, but okay, that's your bad luck. I mean,
and also
I'm disagreeing. For the sake of disagreeing, I like the meat dress.
Look at the
silliness of it.
Type in Lady Gaga egg. This is another one. I could be convinced of this one. This is
Lady Gaga egg.
She came doing.
All right, I'm looking at it, and it's like a giant, like gold egg. I'm looking at the wrong thing, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the wrong thing. She's being carried.
Okay.
She's inside.
Dude, there's more than one result for Lady Gaga egg dress, and like all of them could be what you're talking about.
That's the one where she was like carried around like a pharaoh. But regardless,
dude,
yeah,
I like it. I mean, I like that. That's your answer. I disagree. I think it's a good look, but I'm basically just trying to disagree because it fits her character of doing silly things like that.
It does.
I have one.
All right, Brandon, what's yours?
Y'all ever heard of Rachel Dozar?
Yeah, she pretended to be black, right?
Yeah, I had that one on the list too. Yeah. That was terrible.
That's a good one. Yeah, and my other ones, my honorable mentions were Bill Cosby, being the family man, who then was the world's most serial pedophile, or no, sorry, rapist. That's what I meant, rapist. Obviously, of course, that's a bad look. The celebrity singing Imagine, bad luck. Like, just shut the fuck up. Yes, that's actually what made me think about it, and I didn't put it on my list because I thought you might do that. as one of yours. But that was a bad one. And then my last one, I thought about making this because we could really go into it, and we don't need to since it's just an honorable mention. But the Catholic Church and the fact that this specifically, the fact that all those charges come out that little boys, the fact that throughout every mass I've ever been to, there's 2 little boys in a dress on the stage the entire time. The altar boys. That was my specific bad luck about it. There's so many ways you could go about the moral element of we are the family, we are the church, do the right thing, and then they're just like destroying little boys' lives. So much to go there with how it's a bad luck for the Catholic Church. And
absolutely,
if they were a stock, it peaked so long ago, and it might have a little bump in the future, but like it has permanently declined. And
sell
the Catholic Church.
All right, so I had Lance Armstrong. We already talked about Steve Renazizi.
Who's that?
No idea who that is. Sounds like a nice Italian pasta.
The guy from the league. No, he said he was in. He had always claimed that he was in the building in 9/11, and that was
right.
a lie. And he stuck
that's
with
the original.
it. It's
like the original Jussie Smollett.
That's like I consider him the Eladia Baldwin, Brian Williams. Remember Brian Williams?
I mean,
NBC
a lot
News.
what was his thing?
He said that he was in Afghanistan or something covering troops, and he said that like their helicopter he was in was shot down. Just all of it was fake. He got fired. He used to host nightly news, and now he doesn't.
So basically, I think this boils down to one word: hypocrite.
Clout.
Hypocrite,
or just lie like
habitual liar.
Well, the hypocrite element makes it a bad look. I said this, I believe this, and then, but I did this, and like, ooh, that's a bad look considering you said that.
Would be a bit, but like the Steve Renazizi, the Jussie Smollett, I wouldn't say they're hypocrites. I just think they're lying.
Right.
They're lying for clout, lying to be different, and like they're famous, so they probably.
And then like the aha getting caught moment is like looking back at like all the things they did.
Steve Renazizi handled it perfectly when he got exposed. He went on Howard Stern and like was just 100% honest.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have to. That's how you have to do it.
But we had some good ones. Like we keep coming up with good general things that we can take any way, and it makes good conversation. And those are some good ones. So I enjoyed that.
All
right. Second topic, Brandon.
All right, so the NHL is selling out to corporate sponsors. What are your thoughts? Can you set it up for me, David?
Yeah, have you guys seen this? So
not a lot.
There's obviously a lot of lost revenue for all of the for pro sports, right? So their ticket sale. I mean, it goes without saying. Hockey is probably in the worst shape financially of all of the pro sports. So I'm going to pull up the name. They had to work the divisions this year because there's 7 teams in Canada and you can't cross the border right now because of COVID. So all the teams like the Maple Leafs or the Canadiens who typically are in the Atlantic division and play against Boston and Buffalo, they can't. Now the Canadian teams are one division. So they renamed the divisions for this year. The Flyers, who I'm a big fan of, are in the Mass Mutual division. There's
corporate sponsors.
Corporate sponsors on all of them. There's a Scotiabank division, Honda, Discover, and Mass Mutual. So they're sponsoring the name of the divisions. Back in the day, they were named after like players. It was like the Patrick division. Now they're obviously corporate sponsors. But usually it's like Eastern, Western Conference. So they're doing that. They're introducing sponsorships on helmets. I think each team's going to have one sponsor. The NBA does it too on their jersey. Each team has one sponsor that's listed on their jersey. So like, I guess the question is like, how do you guys feel about this? I know a lot of people are up in arms about the divisions being named. You look at the Premier League, there's ads all over the jerseys. It's distracting.
I have zero problem with it.
Really?
I have zero problem with it. Absolutely zero.
Have ads on it. Like,
they do. I mean, then
it would be inauthentic. And also in the video games, it has the jerseys. Like
they're gonna have it.
I am all for it. Like, because they have to make money, and they have to make money. And sports will always have commercials because they have natural breaks. What's your take on it? Because I have one other thought on this in general.
Like I'm okay with like how the NBA does it. Like but it's not a great precedent because you know that the jerseys are soon going to be covered in Chevy sponsors and whatever it is, and it just looks really
NASCAR and the Premier League
right
is a little
Yeah.
but
much.
NASCAR, nobody cares about NASCAR.
But
Premier League,
it's also like NASCAR's always been like that. See, this one of the things. This actually relates to one thing we were talking last podcast. It has to do with we used to not have it, like accepting change. Like I'm
Sure,
fine with
but
it.
this
It makes them money, and okay. Like some people might not like it because it's just we didn't used to have it. It's not right.
no,
like
it's because it's ugly. Dude, it's not because they didn't used to have it. If you look at like a Manchester United jersey, there's a huge Chevy sign. There's a big like bank sign. That's just ugly. It doesn't look, and like with this, it has nothing to do with, it's not a new exciting thing. It's a corporate sponsorship on the division names. It's just like, I don't really care about this as much. The divisions being renamed, but I understand it. It's like,
I mean,
just
who
feels
really cares about
tacky.
that? Like,
Yeah.
But the on the jersey, on the ice things would be
They already have
much more of a-
sponsorships. They have sponsor on the ice. They have sponsor all around the boards.
around the,
So, like,
around
that's-
the boards.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's fine.
But
But I think the big thing is like jerseys and like what's next. You know, I don't know, commercials.
Yeah.
The only time I ever watch commercials is live sports,
Okay.
and like you said, they're like naturally built-in breaks.
Yeah. I have a hot take on this. I am open to all forms of advertising. I am an advertiser. I spent $1.3 million with Facebook on advertisements last year, and social media ads are great because they personalize to people. Tell me if I'm fucking crazy. All right, so I'm a rational person. I'm very proud of how I can control my emotions when things come up. I'm passionate, but there is this bug inside of me where I get fucking angry every time I have to watch a commercial on a screen. I will pay as much money as I can to get the commercials away on any app. I hate commercials. I passionately, I can be at the beach in the best mood in the world, and I'll be watching something and a commercial comes on, and there will be this rage that burns in my belly. And like part of me is like, okay, Sean, relax, come on. And like I say that to myself, and I can't help it. So now what I do if I'm watching a commercial, I feel the rage, and I can't control the rage. I try to control the rage, but the rage, I can't get rid of the rage. The rage is there internally, and I can't get rid of it. It makes me so angry. So I have to like maybe walk out of the room or like change the channel. Like I can't just ruin this day by going on a fucking tirade, which I have done many times about commercials. I hate them so much. They just intrude on your time, on your life. And I've grown this on me, and like I think I didn't used to have this growing up because all we had was network TV. Then you get a little spoiled without them, and like especially because on apps like NBC Sports, they play commercials during Notre Dame football games, but the streaming of commercials hasn't advanced like it has on TV, so they play like the same commercial 4 fucking times in a row, and they play the same fucking commercial throughout the entire game, and like I want to murder somebody how much I hate them, and like I don't know, that's just am I crazy? I hate commercials more than anything in the world.
Yes.
And they fucking drive me nuts.
I mean, I hate commercials too. I've never been.
You don't hate them as much as me.
you are. No, I mean,
I hate very few things like this, and I'm concerned about myself.
You should try like liking things first. And, like coming into it with a new point of view.
Okay,
and, like,
commercials aren't a new thing. They're actually they might be the counter to that because they're an old thing.
But they're also a disruptor. But why?
Yes,
like
they're so disruptive.
I like almost never see commercials. The only time I ever see commercials.
Oh, trust me, me neither.
But like
sports.
If I'm watching sports, or if like something's on in the background and I'm not paying attention at all, then like I don't even.
There's 3 times I've seen commercials: sports, a hotel, and every time I go to a hotel, which I was at recently, I grab the remote and I hit the TV and I see like the boxes, like the cable box where like it shows you all the channels and you can scroll through, and like sports are green and like movies are a color, and I get a good nostalgic feeling. I'm like, this is fun. I remember going through this, and like I'm like all in a good mood of nostalgia of watching 50 First Dates on TBS, and it's like halfway through, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. Oh, they're playing The Office 11 times in a row. What episode are they watching? Oh, Sports Center. Like it's a nostalgic good feeling. And then throughout the weekend of being at the hotel, I start to get those commercials hit me, and I start to lose it. And then the other time I watched commercials was I enjoy another live event, and it was the New Year's ball dropping. Dick Clark, which is now Ryan Seacrest. I like to watch that because
I'm not commercials though.
I'm usually not doing shit on New Year's, and like, you know, it's the news and like it's kind of like whatever everyone's watching. So like I do watch. And this year, me and Shelby, I made her stay up. We didn't do anything. Like we were just like any other night, except we stayed up till midnight. And we just set the gym for like 2 hours later, and then everything was regular. And I probably had a few drinks, but I do that normally. And we were trying to enjoy ourselves, and the commercials. And like, I know my problem. I know this issue I have. So like, and Shelby knows it too. Shelby knows the issue I have too. So I'm like, all right, let's not. Just like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm like,
calm down.
And Shelby's like, I know. And I'm like, I know. And she's like, let's just not get mad about the commercials. I'm like, all right, I get it. All right, I'm an adult. I can control my emotions. 4 minutes later, me and her are both outraged because there was more. And then we say there cannot be another one. There cannot be another one. And then even Shelby got mad. I probably egged her on a little bit, but my point was any reasonable person at this time would get how mad they were. And I guess, I mean, it's a New Year's where they don't have a lot of like B-roll to show of like the crowd, and they're probably like, fuck it, let's just bang some commercials out.
Those shows always have a ton of commercials though, like, and especially as you get closer to New Year when there's more eyeballs on it.
Like it's like there's what they're saying is fuck you. We know you have to watch this, and we are going to fucking take advantage of your stupid eyeballs and your stupid time and your night by showing you ads where we get another 50 grand by showing another 30 seconds. Why wouldn't we do it? It's like looking at you and being like, ha ha, you're an idiot. Do anything about it. And I'm like, and of course I could do something about it, but I do want to watch that. And like every time they get more of your attention, they play more commercials. And it's like sports gets a pass because there's a natural break. And I still hate it, but
walk away.
I mean, I do.
Get a snack, you know?
And I do.
You know what but like, I don't think as long as TV exists like it does, and I don't know how long that'll be, commercials are going to exist because you can talk about like more savvy things like product placement or like shows.
Okay.
Like
absolutely, dude.
Even with that, they're still gonna they're not gonna lose the ad revenue. You know what I mean? That's cool. They're never gonna ditch that for anything. Like for a sitcom, say it was like you want product placement. Okay, exactly. Well they're not gonna say, oh, let's do product placement and then we will lose the commercials. They're gonna say, let's do product placement and the commercials.
Well, a lot of new TV, like old TV shows like Friends and stuff are written with breaks for commercials. Like that's how they have to be written. Like new shows don't have to be written like that. And as the world changes, whatever. On TV. Network TV shows still have to write like that. Like that, right? Like cable shows, like they're defined by that. But that's going a little away, and more shows are streaming.
Well, that's the thing. Like once it's on streaming.
And the topic about this was about the NHL. I wanted to do my tirade about how much I hate commercials because it's something unique about me, and I'm not joking. Mm-hmm. But I understand there has to be advertising, so that is why I have to naturally support any type of advertising that's not commercials. So throw a goddamn Oreo on half court. I don't care. Any way that you can advertise me that's not a commercial, I support. And it also as an advertiser, it's kind of like cool to see like they put a Pepsi in an episode of a show. Like it doesn't take away from the plot at all because that it already writ to have a Pepsi there. It doesn't take away from the plot at all. It's actually real because that actually would be a Pepsi, and it gets Pepsi attention. And I'm noticing Pepsi, and next time I go to the vending machine, maybe I'll grab the Pepsi. Like it's a win-win-win product placement and cool advertisement. So I love them. I love seeing how you advertise without commercials.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Did you remember in the last season it was uncovered that somebody accidentally left the Starbucks cup in frame? Like, was that you think that was an ad?
No,
I don't. But if it was, I would be happy to hear that was on purpose because I'd be like, oh, that's cool.
I think there's a chance it was.
I think it was an accident. There's a chance. I never thought of it until you said that, but I think it was an accident.
Like as long as cable and TV exist, like regular TV, not streaming, then commercials are going to, because you can do product placement.
Agreed.
These networks are never going to say
never. So who loses? So who loses as the trend moves on? Who loses is
studios,
ABC, NBC, CBS,
right?
But they're already working on like NBC has Peacock, and dude, fuck CBS. They want $4.99 to watch a football game. ABC, like they own Hulu and Disney. Like who's really gonna lose as this trend continues to change is like TBS, TNT. Nickelodeon, like cable stations, like they need to start pivoting towards streaming. And I don't mind it's kind of annoying having all these different apps to go to watch shows, but I
Better
love
commercials.
I personally love, and want to know what else is very fair is the option to pay more money to eliminate commercials.
Sure.
Very fair, very fair. And some people who might be on more of a budget, they might have to sacrifice and pay less and take the commercials. I'm never doing that. I will die with $0 in the bank account.
Did you
that's
see
a little extreme, but
Nickelodeon is like they have a playoff game this year or this week?
What?
One of the NFL, and like, you know, where I know one ad that you love, we've talked about it before, was the Allstate, where like in the field goal, you love that. So there's gonna be like a big SpongeBob, like it's gonna be like a wacky production of
that's awesome.
football game.
I might watch it. And for people don't know what we're talking about with Allstate, it's their logo is the hands, like the palm of your hands, and
You're in good hands.
And they put behind the field goal post where you kick the ball, they have to put up a thing so it doesn't go right into the stands. On that, they put those hands, so it looks like it's catching the ball, and it's such a win-win because it's so cool, it's funny, it's like and then it's like Allstate, and like everyone wins. Like,
you know what?
Except for the fan who would catch the ball if it wasn't there.
You know what? I think two sports that are so dumb in the way that they handle things. This is kind of a tangent, but baseball doesn't allow people to like share clips of baseball games on Twitter.
Yes. I think they have adjusted on that in the past like few months because well known across the advertising world how stupid that is.
And then golf too. Golf, like there are certain, I don't know about the majors. I think there are like early rounds of majors, but there's tournaments that you cannot watch on TV. You have to buy the PGA Tour app. Yeah, PGA Tour app, and you have to pay to watch it. It's like,
I guess I never would watch golf except for if it was like the Sunday on the Masters.
But if it's on and you want to take a nap or something, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a different story. But
yeah,
I mean, to a certain point, I think I'm okay with some advertising on like a cord or jerseys, but I don't like the way it looks when there's $1 billion. I think that's the way we're heading. So be it. So here's my last question. I don't know if this is going to be like forever. If next year, when hopefully fans are back and divisions are back to normal, are they going to?
Here's my prediction.
Metropolitan.
Here's my prediction. The divisions will go back to the same way they were structured before, but the sponsor names will stay.
Yeah.
Once you break the stadiums. Like Cowboy Stadium, it's now AT&T Stadium. What are the stadiums left that still have iconic names? Notre Dame Stadium does. Soldier Field, that's a good one.
Lambeau.
Yankee Stadium, Lambeau Field. Those are dropping, and honestly, who gives a fuck? You still call it Cowboy Stadium, like if it's and everyone gets money, and like once in the pre-show, the announcer on the TV says, "Welcome to AT&T Stadium" instead of Cowboy Stadium. It doesn't take away any.
True.
Of value from the experience of the football game, and that is where if I don't have to sacrifice,
I'm fine with that.
Then I'm in,
I guess
everyone wins.
That's kind of the same thing as the divisions. It is a little bit like
if it's an eyesore, that's a genuine reason not to like it.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's helping the sport.
So what if it was like the Notre Dame, like FedEx fighting Irish? You'd be cool with that?
I mean, I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't. I'd be fine with it. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, I would like for them to have a better branding, maybe like Guinness or like something that's green. It's cool if it kind of fits, like.
Right.
But if it was Guinness beer, that would be cool. FedEx.
Yeah.
But if they did that tomorrow, I would not like lose my fandom.
People would, but yeah.
All right, love that conversation. Mm-hmm. All right, Brandon. This next one is very unique, and I'm very excited. What is it?
Yes. Question 3. All right, each of y'all have to build a team of the top 5 cartoon characters to start a landscaping business. Who will make the most money?
How random is this? This is fun. Okay, so me and Hecker both have 5 cartoon characters that are going to work together as a landscaping team, and we have to convince Brandon at the end of the segment. You have to pick who would make more money over a summer of running the business, my team or Hecker's team.
All
right. So part of it's convincing Brandon. All right. So you say your 5, I'll say my 5, then we'll talk.
Okay.
And just say your 5. Don't explain it. Just say your 5, and I'll say my 5.
So I have Cat Dog, Bulbasaur from Pokemon, Inspector Gadget, Randall from Recess, and the Grinch.
I would love to hear your explanation for this. We do have one crossover, and I'm not sacrificing it.
It's got to be Inspector Gadget, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Judging by your. Okay.
So we have one of the same guys. We're gonna have to work with that.
All right.
Like I'm not taking Inspector Gadget away because I already have a whole team. I have a team dynamic built, and I need him.
I'll sub Inspector Gadget for Jimmy Neutron.
Okay. All right. Okay. All
You're
right.
welcome, Sean.
Thank you. And
Brandon, I need brownie points for that one, but yeah.
All right.
All right. So my team: Bugs Bunny, Scrooge McDuck, Sully from Monsters Inc., the Tasmanian Devil, and Inspector Gadget.
All right, y'all really gotta explain. Like,
yeah, we got to explain. That's kind of the whole point. It's a podcast.
All right, I'm very confident now in mine.
I'm confident in mine.
Okay, so why don't you start explaining?
Okay, so all right. So cartoon characters.
I'm gonna interject my points as you
fair,
and feel free to do the same.
So cartoon characters are known for fucking up and getting in trouble and mischief and being stupid because they're cartoon characters. So I stayed away from troublemakers. I considered. And Bugs Bunny is my leader. Bugs Bunny is one of the most important elements of my team is Bugs Bunny he's sales, he's leadership, he's chemistry, and he's motivation. And he is somebody who I trust that will get the job done, will convince other people, and will have the right thing. I considered other people like Hercules, Peter Pan, and the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. But I don't want an ego issue. I want one leader on my team. And Bugs is the one and only true leader of the team. So I didn't put another leadership person there because I didn't want heads to butt with the ego of my business. I considered chemistry, minimizing wacky people. And
dude, Bugs Bunny's like the wackiest guy in the world. Also, all he does is burrow underground and put giant holes in the ground.
Dude, he's always scheming. And he has all the
skills.
Imagine
you pay somebody to take care of your lawn and you just see a billion holes and tunnels dug into your lawn.
No, he wouldn't.
It's terrible.
So sales. No, but he's not going to be doing the labor for my team. He's going to be sales and leadership.
It's still like a huge habit of his. So that's
I mean, he's not going to do it.
He's also wacky as hell. You're going to say Bugs Bunny is not wacky. He's like a wacky, super wacky.
No,
he's loony.
Bugs Bunny is manipulating. He's manipulating.
He's the face of Looney Tunes.
What does Bugs Bunny do that's wacky? He's always the one riling up and squaring the other Looney Tunes like against each other. He's the smartest one. He has charisma.
You hear that, Brandon?
He has charisma. He has leadership. He has the ability to motivate and tell others what to do and give them a reason for doing it, which is what business leaders need to do. And he has like a motivation to want this thing to be successful because I trust him. He's not wacky enough to like just quit. Like he is going to be convinced to do this. You better
hope you don't have a vegetable garden either. Like if you have a vegetable garden and you're paying this team, like forget about it. He's going to bring his own.
He's going to bring his own carrots. So let me just continue with my dynamic a little bit. So Scrooge McDuck is more of a defensive move against yours because. How are you going to fund your business? Scrooge McDuck is not going to be around. He's there for me to justify any investment I need to make into the business. So that's mine, Scrooge McDuck.
He's very like Scroogey though. You know what I mean?
Like he's not. So Bugs Bunny will be the one. Bugs Bunny will be cool. So Bugs Bunny will be the one though to communicate with Scrooge to get the money, and those two will work together. All right. So then Inspector Gadget and Sully from Monsters Inc. are going to be my two workers. And I chose Sully from Monsters Inc. for a very specific reason. It's because, one, he can help with sales. He's presentable, like he does the laughter in the movie. He can do labor because he's big and strong. And we know that he will be compliant with the company because what does he do in the movie? He works every day. He goes to work and he does his job. And he does the laughing through the closets and the scaring. So he will be a reliable worker who's presentable to the client. And he's big enough and strong enough to help do the labor. Inspector Gadget is I'm banking a lot on him doing the labor and, getting the scissors. And here's the other thing about Inspector Gadget. How does every episode start? With him taking an order. So Bugs is going to get the jobs. Give it to Inspector Gadget, who won't go off on a wacky mission and screw it up. He will do his mission the entire time that he got from his leader.
I've never seen the show or not, but
again,
wacky missions, hijinks all over the place.
But he always accomplishes the mission. And he doesn't create what the mission is. He gets his orders from someone else.
Sure.
So he will be compliant as a worker. And my last one is the Tasmanian Devil. Now, he is a wild card. Now, Bugs Bunny is going to have plenty of time. Bugs Bunny has plenty of time because he's not doing any labor. And Sully from Monsters Inc. and Inspector Gadget will be able to do the labor. And Bugs will get the job. So Bugs will have some extra time. And one of Bugs Bunny's projects throughout the summer is going to be taking the Tasmanian Devil and controlling him into using his spinning just to create a lawn and perfectly mow it in a second with his crazy
It'll never
mowing,
happen.
and he's gonna put a little like mower on him and like spin around, and there's a chance that it doesn't work. But if anyone can control the Tasmanian devil over the course of a summer, it's gonna be Bugs Bunny. So it's gonna be a wild card. And if it doesn't work out with the Taz, we don't need him. We already have Sully and Inspector Gadget to do the labor.
If I'm a consumer, I'm not paying for your experiment. If it doesn't work out, then that's on my dime.
here's the thing about lawns. Each lawn is a new customer, a new client. So like maybe we do some tests with Taz, and once we nail it, then we can just now he can go to. Here's the thing: Taz can go to one house, the Tasmanian Devil can go to one house if we get it, and Sully and Inspector Gadget can do the other house. Therefore, we can cover more ground in a period of time. Taz has the potential. Taz has the potential to do 10 lawns at once if we can hone down his skills. And who can hone him better than Bugs? So it's a risk, it's a wild card, but it has the potential. If by the end of the summer Bugs can teach the Taz do 10 lawns, then we are going to be nailing neighborhoods.
And big risk though.
And guess what? Scrooge McDuck is going to cover the lawnmowers, the transportation, and the payroll.
He's a money man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the same question for both of y'all. What is their motivating factor to work as a team?
I pretty much just explained mine.
He thinks that Bugs Bunny's a good enough leader, that wacky cockadoo is going to be able to motivate him
Inspector Gadget and Sully are already characters whose main things is that they do jobs. So they're just doing it for the paycheck.
I think Taz is a cancer on this team because you can't reel him in. You cannot reel him in.
That's why he's a wild card.
Yep.
We're not going to bring him to the first job. But
also,
it's in our pocket.
He's not just a wild card. He like actively destroys things. So he could actively undo all of your work. Like everywhere he goes, he leaves a path of destruction.
Scrooge McDuck is going to build a test
imagine him
area.
in front of a client. Imagine.
Well, we're not going to bring him out into the field until he nails it, and we're going to build a test facility with Scrooge McDuck's money. And by the end of the summer,
talk to me at the end of September 29th, and like maybe he'll be able to get a lawn. All right. Well, interesting. Okay. Well, I understand the dynamics.
You think my team would make a little bit of money, Brandon?
Yeah. I'm trying to think like.
Okay.
It just all depends on Bug's marketing plan too. Like.
And there's nothing he does more than convince the other Looney Tunes to do crazy stuff. You're telling me he can't go to a door and be like, hey, would you like one of the top detectives and one of the strongest men in the world to come to your lawn for a very fair price? Like he could get that done.
Maybe if he's not digging holes in you. I mean, like you'd open the door and he'd be burrowing from your front lawn and popping up right in front of you. And you'd be like, all right, well, thanks. But now I had this enormous hole in my lawn and all my landscaping's messed up. So get off my lawn. It's like, where'd you get that carrot? Oh, is that from my garden? No, of course you can't be, my friend.
Scrooge McDuck will give him all the carrots he wants in his own bag.
That's not the Scrooge McDuck I know. Maybe he's become a little bit more generous. All right, understood. I like it. I'm obviously poking holes in it.
That's your job.
So I'll go dynamics. All right, I'll start with I had Inspector Gadget. I'll go Jimmy Neutron. Very, very, very similar idea. Although Jimmy Neutron is an inventor, so he can solve problems with his inventions. Whereas Inspector Gadget has a set of tools that he already has at his disposal. Jimmy Neutron can find a problem, solve it with an invention. He has rocket ships. He can go point A to point B, transport everything very quickly. And clearly money's not an issue with him. So he can we don't have
money's
to worry
about money's not an issue with Jimmy Neutron.
I mean,
is he rich?
No, he's got rocket
He's a kid.
ships. So
he's a kid.
But how does he have a rocket ship? His parents are paying for it. His parents are bankrolling the whole thing.
He has a rocket ship in the show?
Jimmy Neutron?
Yes.
Oh yeah. All
right. Okay. So a 12-year-old kid is going to be your source of unlimited money?
He's a super genius. He's a super genius, and he can invent.
Okay.
He can literally solve any problem in the world with an invention.
Okay.
So he might be able to just be a one-man crew and take care of a whole lawn with one invention. But we'll keep going for the sake of the argument. The Grinch.
That seems like a wild card, like Taz. Okay. The Grinch. Interesting.
Except Taz The Grinch. Think about what he accomplished in one night. He took down. He's very organized. He has a crazy work ethic. He works efficiently. He works effectively, and he took down Christmas for an entire town in one night. And he's agile. Like not only is he quick, he can get down chimneys with a huge sack pop up. So if it's lawn clippings or leaves, whatever it is, he's in and out in a hurry. He gets it all done quickly.
He's going to be a cancer on the team.
No way. And I'll get to that.
He's literally the Grinch.
Somebody reels him in, and I'll get there. All right, Bulbasaur. You might be thinking, what's Bulbasaur doing?
Yeah.
So,
eat your treat.
What is a landscaping crew responsible for?
Making the grass,
mowing the lawn, keeping the trim well.
You want your lawn to look amazing, right? like if you have a shitty lawn, if your grass is crummy and you have spare spots, you need somebody who knows grass, right? You need somebody who understands soil and grass and what's going on. What's Bulbasaur? He's a leaf Pokemon. He is grass, so he can probably like walk on grass and be like, nope, this isn't right. You need water. You need this chemical. That he's one with the earth, so he's the guy. He's like the consultant to make sure that your lawn is where it needs to be, right?
Can he talk?
Oh yeah, I mean they communicate. I mean, can Taz talk? How's Taz going to communicate?
Okay, all
right. And he's very cute, so people are gonna love. Like, oh, you know what? Let's give him a shot. And he's just very effective. All right.
Okay.
So, and then we have Cat Dog. Cat Dog does the work of 2 people, 2 men at once. Whether you're weeding or, I mean, they work well together. So it's 4 hands rather than 2. It's basically you get 2 workers for the price of 1. It would be like having. You said Bugs Bunny doesn't do work, right?
If it's needed, but mostly his job is not labor.
Mm-hmm. So you have 1 person who does 0. I have 1 person who does just the work of 2 people. So that's just.
So Cat Dog's your leader?
There. No, my leader. Brandon, before I get into this, did you watch Recess? Do you know that cartoon?
Not really, but I looked him up. I already looked him up.
All right. So this hurts my argument a little bit. But Sean, you watched Recess, right?
Yeah.
You know who Randall is?
Randall is a teacher's pet, absolute teacher's pet.
Little worm.
He's like the.
And that's what Brandon needs to know.
Like
He's a
the
worm.
hall pass guy.
He's a worm.
Like,
He tells the teacher everything everyone does.
Everything.
He's like nerdy and
I
like.
know his kind of like his gig.
So if I'm running a business, like these guys are all. They're all hard workers. They're all getting the job done, but I need somebody there to make sure that nobody's cutting corners. A summer job when there's landscapers there. If it's 5 kids, they're going to be taking breaks, siestas. They're going to be cutting corners. Maybe they're taking a couple of dollars out of the orders. Randall's there, taking better to be feared than loved. He's Machiavelli.
I wish leadership worked like that. No one will respect him as a leader. No one likes him.
They respect me. Okay, he's there to make sure.
Wait, we're a part of this.
I thought. I mean, even I thought we're not.
I didn't know.
I thought I was picking 5 guys to run a system. I'm still big boss number 1. Either way,
I never looked at it like that.
He's a rule follower. If somebody's breaking a rule, somebody's cutting a corner, somebody's taking the easy way out, he's gonna be there to point it out.
So you got Teacher's Pet as your guy. You got Jimmy Neutron for inventions. You got Bulbasaur as the consultant, and you got Cat Dog.
Randall's also a good order taker.
Who's your sales guy?
That would be Jimmy. Jimmy Neutron's charismatic. Cat Dog is as well, but Jimmy Neutron. No, what? But Sean, you keep saying kid. He's a super genius.
He's a kid.
He's a super genius.
Yeah, but sales isn't like solving an equation.
But have you seen his hair? He's suave. He's cool guy. He's very cool in front of customers. He's a very cool customer. Cat Dog is also a charmer. The cat part of Cat Dog is a charmer, but I wouldn't have him necessarily like as the point person because Dog in the back is always running amok. He's kind of always like yapping about something. But
okay. Yeah. All right, so that's your pitch. All right, so Brandon, to rip apart his team, just tear it apart. No leadership, no funding, and their consultant can't even talk. And their leader is a wormy guy. And Cat Dog, they're always disagreeing with each other. And
no, they're not.
They have no funding. And my team is much more well structured.
What do you mean no funding? What funding do they need? Jimmy Neutron is making and bringing.
Your funding is a 12-year-old boy.
He has rocket ships. Are you telling me that's going to be an issue? If he could build a rocket ship with no problem?
Scrooge McDuck has more money than Jimmy Neutron, and he's experienced in investing.
Doesn't matter. So, I mean, every argument you had, just if you think that Bugs is
I have leadership funding. I have leadership funding. I have labor. I have sales. And I have a wild card that could potentially blow this into such a big landscaping company that we can cover a whole state.
Best case scenario, Tasmanian Devil is like a good worker. Right?
No.
What's the best case? That's a terrible
best case scenario. No, it's a wild card. I already have labor covered with Inspector Gadget and Sully.
A wild
card. This is a potential to take a small community landscaping business into a statewide business.
You have 2 useful people in yours, okay? Scrooge McDuck doesn't work. You said Bugs doesn't work, and Tasmanian Devil maybe by the end of the summer can work. That's
but
3 out the window.
Sully and Inspector Gadget, because Inspector Gadget is going to be able to come up with a contraption to like do it all real fast, and any labor carrying bags.
Jimmy Neutron's a better version of Inspector Gadget. So
no, Inspector Gadget already has the inventions, and all he needs is the situation to apply them in. And anything that he needs heavy carry, like we're gonna maybe plant some trees, and Sully will be able to carry all of them. And both of my workers have great attitudes. Cat Dog are always arguing with each other.
No,
they don't even like each other. They're going to go off on a crazy rampage.
They're the same person. They like each other. They're best friends. They share a bed.
Yeah, well, they don't have a choice unless they stab themselves down the middle of their body.
You can't say that they can't communicate.
Bulbasaur can't even talk.
Neither can Taz. So how is anyone ever going to reel him in?
Well, you said Bulbasaur is your consultant, meaning that he's going to talk to the client, talk to the leadership, be the guy who kind of figures everything out. Can't even talk.
He's
in his head.
He's a grass consultant. He gets that. He knows exactly what it needs.
Brandon, whose team's better? Whose team will make more money in one summer of operating a landscape business?
Yeah, that's how I'm thinking. Like one summer. So I think your team, Sean, will make a good steady amount of money, but I feel like Jimmy Neutron is literally
the wild card.
Like he takes it over. Like,
because
there's many reasons. He's a kid, so like if you go to a door, like a client's gonna be like, he could be like, oh, like I have this little business. I'm trying to like, kind of like a lemonade stand. They're more likely to like want to like. He's
contribute,
more attractive
and he's got great hair.
Mm-hmm.
He's more attractive than Bugs Bunny at the door.
Who's gonna just dig holes in your yard? We'll say
Bugs is an adult.
Okay, I'm gonna give you. So Sean, I think your labor force is better. I still don't understand like why y'all both chose wild cards, like Tasmania and the Grinch. They're both wild cards.
Well, maybe let's talk to the guy.
Wild card. Grinch isn't a wild card. Grinch is like
Grinch. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Grinch is going to destroy the whole chemistry of his entire team. The guy lives in a thing. He hates everyone that he meets. He's negative.
No,
he is pessimistic.
He didn't hate people.
He's one
Christmas.
thing he's ever done is destroy a city of love. You think he's going to be a good, compliant worker sitting there cutting grass, or do you think he's going to talk shit and all the other team members not show up? The Grinch is a cancer on the team. He's going to ruin the whole chemistry. And do you think a little boy?
Man.
Do you think a little boy has Do you think the little boy has a management experience to deal with an experienced Grinch grouch like the Grinch who's going to ruin the cancer from inside the team? Bugs Bunny has experience handling all different kinds of personalities.
How did that Toon Squad look before MJ got there and the real leader arrived?
I mean, they don't have great skills, but who was the leader of the team? Who got it together? Bugs Bunny.
Bugs. Would you say that they were organized and like a well-run team?
I mean, they had jerseys, they had a court, they had a lineup. They got Lola, who actually was good at basketball. Like, yes, he put together a team. He put together the spectacle.
You played your own.
And yes, and then he went out and recruited the best talent in the world because he's a leader. Because he's a leader.
If you want to hire a spectacle, then that's great. But if you want to hire a business,
they won. They won in Space Jam and Bugs Bunny
because they got a real leader.
And who got MJ? But who outsourced the leadership because that was required in the situation? The man who always gets the job done, Bugs Bunny.
He's a bunny.
Well, also David, he
runs a whole world. Looney Tunes, the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but David's squad, he has like differential,
no leadership.
He has Bulbasaur, which is a different type of product.
He can't talk.
Like, huh?
He can't talk.
No, but the watering aspect.
These are cartoons.
Sell them. Basically.
All of the other cartoons, but cartoons have shows where they have plots and they can talk.
Well, I'm saying Bulbasaur can be an upsell. Like
Tasmanian Devil cannot talk.
Like, did you hear me, John?
Bulbasaur can communicate. That's how. Like, have you ever seen the show Pokemon? They can communicate with each other.
I'm just seeing him as
they can't communicate with a Grinch and Cat Dog.
You sure can.
Like, Sean, but you only got okay. But is Bulbasaur also going to do labor? Because your labor force is looking weak right now.
No, yeah, he do the watering, yeah, but he's the one that gets the grass right, and he can do it
Sean, he's basically a sprinkler system. You don't have to buy one.
And one
he's going to sit in a yard for 2 hours a day where he can't go consult with other yards because he's a sprinkler system.
Have you ever tried to get a crummy yard in shape? It's impossible. Like, you have to be. It's science.
Yes, and do you water it once and have it fixed?
No, but it's not about that. It's about knowing what the yard needs because he is a leaf. He's part of the.
I eat cereal. I don't know how to manufacture it. Like, just because you eat something doesn't mean you're an expert in it.
So you don't know Pokemon because he didn't. It's not that he eats leaves. He's a leaf Pokemon. That's his essence.
This is so dumb.
I know. But
also we got.
But my team's better. Who are you going to trust? The man who built a business?
More.
What sells more?
Brand. And I feel like your brand is like more built like a machine.
Whose?
And David's like more built where you can make creative solutions.
Dude, he's got the Grinch on his team. That's the worst. That would be the last person I would pick. I put a people of I would never pick. I would never pick Shabby from Scooby-Doo. I would never pick Grandpa Rick, even how smart he is. You can't pick people who are gonna screw up your team. I picked workers who showed in their TV show what they do is work. Inspector Gadget goes on missions. Sully's entire thing in Monsters Inc. is how he holds a job. I have 2 reliable workers for my labor force. He has 2 cats and dogs who fight each other, and a Grinch who's known for one thing, which is ruining people's
Jimmy
spirit.
Neutron. And Jimmy
Neutron, who's a boy
expert. And a grass
Jimmy Neutron's supposed to be sales and inventions. You don't have that. You don't have that spread out enough. And then you got
Brandon.
You
He just clearly doesn't get it.
Smarter than Bugs Bunny?
I don't think that he as much as a people person as Bugs Bunny.
Jimmy is probably
and
like
sales and management is people
Bugs Bunny.
person. No, Jimmy Neutron is smarter, but how do you define smartness? Jimmy Neutron come up with an invention, but does he have the experience of dealing with people in sales, the complex sales process? Does he have the ability to manage employees like the Grinch? You think the Grinch is going to listen to a little boy named Jimmy Neutron who looks exactly like a Who?
The Grinch didn't hate people. He hated Christmas. Okay,
he hated Who's. He hated Who's.
No, he didn't. He hated Christmas.
Jimmy Neutron is essentially a Who.
The rest of the year, he was going out of town.
That's why. No, that's not true. He lived up in the cave all year long.
How did he get food? Did you ever see? Have you ever seen the Grinch? Do you understand?
Yeah,
Obviously, you're exposing yourself.
The Grinch. You're telling me the Grinch doesn't live up in a giant.
He does, but he still worked hard. How did he get there?
What was his job? Once a year, he'd go down to get food and store it up in his castle because he doesn't want to go down and talk to people because he hates them.
How does he get money?
He hates them because they bullied him as a kid.
All right,
I don't know. A lot of assumptions here.
How
what's the Grinch's job? I'll tell you, it's not landscaping.
In a couple sentences, how does your company beat the competition?
By providing a better service at a better price. And we'll be able to have better prices because we have the backing of Scrooge McDuck, an experienced businessman and guider as an investor, whose one goal is to make money, which is the one goal of this entire operation is to make money. And we have the ultimate cartoon money-making man as not only our investor, but also our guider. And then he implements that to my talented, well-structured
Neutron
team.
Can also expand his business into space, too.
How does that help make money in fucking launch?
You can make alien dollars that are more expensive. I mean, more.
Okay, Brandon. Okay, you just lost your fucking credibility.
Well, here you go.
Alien dollars in Mars. We're talking about mowing lawns and getting $25 and then coming back with a reservice charge twice, 4 times a month in order to maintain. And that's a recurring revenue stream. And that's something Scrooge McDuck understands.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Not Mars.
Does maintain. I'm just saying David
Mine
has
expands.
the ability
What the fuck does the ability to go to space have to do with mowing lawns that is going to give you money? It's only one summer.
Company.
So future investments don't mean a damn thing for one summer.
This landscaping company, mine at least, I can't speak for yours. Clearly you did. Isn't just mowing lawns, Sean. We do so many different things. We get lawns in shape.
So your salesperson and your leader is going to be in space.
No. What are you talking about? He's going to be on Earth. He has inventions that take care of all this. I mean, I hate to say it, but you lost because you.
Okay, that's a really convincing argument for having a bad argument. It's just saying because you lost.
Scrooge McDuck is a money guy. We don't need one because we have somebody who has all these resources and can invent anything. Your leader literally actively destroys laws.
Your money man is a boy who doesn't even have a job.
What are you talking about? He doesn't have a job.
He's 12 years old.
Why would I want him to have a job?
He's 12 years old. He's not your money man. How are you going to get trucks to transport everything? How are you going to buy soil to invest? It's all about making profit. If you want to, you have to buy the mulch in bulk. Jimmy Neutron can afford it. Scrooge McDuck can, and he can have a facility where he holds it.
You clearly didn't watch Jimmy Neutron. You don't understand what he has at his disposal. So you have Tasmanian Devil who will destroy everything, all the work that you've done, and Bugs Bunny who, even if he gets the Tasmanian Devil in line and you can do more lawns, then that's all his time. He has to spend all of his time reeling them in.
Well, no, he has time for sales too. He has time for sales and to make sure everything's going well. And he won't need to spend a lot of time doing management because I have such a professional labor team. I think this is outright a victory for me.
I just feel like
Brandon, be decisive and just pick someone.
It's gonna have to be David for me.
Well, you guys are fucking idiots. Who are you gonna trust?
Right.
The guy who built a business from his mom's basement into a $5 million company with 17 employees, or 2 fucking idiots? Ah!
Your business would make money. I'm just saying, David has the ability to.
Brandon, if you knew more about business, maybe I'd have you on the business side of my business. This is outrage. I want to recount. This is fraudulent election. I won, and we want the viewers to let people know that. I guess my worst case here was a bad judge. I should have picked a different Supreme Court that would be loyal to me.
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
That was no contest. When I heard
no contest, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
but
when I heard Taz is like, I think you could have had an argument if you didn't.
Dude, I had to figure it out in 4 people, so I had a wild card option.
Terrible.
All right. This is the stupidest thing. Just so stupid, but I love it. That was fucking fun, man. And if we had a better judge that was more rational, like I would be a little happier, but it's okay. It was fun.
We're going on to writer's room.
All right, so now after fighting, we have to work as a team again. So, all right, everyone, take a deep breath. Okay, all right, next segment. All right, if you watched last week's episode, something that we think is really cool is how people write TV shows. And we are attempting to spend 15 minutes on the last 3 episodes to come up with a plot for a sketch. And we made some progress on the last show. I'm going to cover it. And then you want to start the clock? Dave, you started it last time. You want to start the clock this time?
Yep. Give me a sec.
All right, so we'll start a 15-minute clock because we did 15 minutes last episode. We're doing 15 minutes this episode.
Do you want to bring us up to speed before the clock or now?
Okay. All right. I was going to say the goal by the 3rd episode, is we're actually going to share my screen and do like a board to storyboard. But here's where we're at. This is the story. We're kind of playing ourselves. The podcast ends, the end of our 10-episode stretch, and I reveal that I was at the Kanye West event where he came to Charleston and did his political speech. And I reveal that at that speech, he dropped something out of his pocket. And I had it this whole time. And I waited till now to reveal it live on the podcast. I've never looked at it for the sake of good content. And I opened it up. And what it is it's a map. And on the map, the X is in Clemson, South Carolina, which is 4 hours from Charleston. And also on the map, it says the X marks diamonds. And it's for Kanye's eyes only. So we all agree that it's dumb. We're not doing this. Kanye is crazy. He's banging Jeffree Star. He's loving God. He's all this crazy. We don't trust Kanye. We don't care about this. And we're not going. And then the call ends. All 3 of us end the Zoom call. And the first thing David does, because he's not with us, is he jumps on his bike and he starts biking down to Clemson. And me and Brandon are still here. So that's, and then we need to develop right there. We know the ending is going to be me and Brandon arrive at the same time. And we FaceTime Hecker at Clemson. And it's revealed at that point that Hecker is only a few miles from his house. He's made no progress, even though we're going to film it like he actually has a chance. No one expects him to win. He has a chance to win. He's actually going to get there faster on his bike. But the joke is that we're going to reveal that he's not even that far from his house. So that's going to be some humor. But when we find this thing where the X marks the spot, we open it up. We expect to see diamonds. And it's a boombox. And we click it. And it plays the song Diamonds Are Forever, Kanye's song, which happens to be the intro to this show. And me and Brandon fucking look at each other pissed off, walk away. And then the music fades, the camera fades, and it goes into the intro for the podcast, for the Diamonds Are Forever, the Sean Lowery show. And it kind of wraps up this whole 10-episode thing with a sketch, and it's about the podcast. And it's kind of like a thing within a thing. And that is where we're at.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Set.
All right, 15 minutes. Okay, so what we need to do now is figure out our plot from the podcast ending, me and Brandon's story from the podcast ending until we arrive in Clemson together, I guess.
Yeah. So I want to go first. All
right.
Podcast ends. We act like we don't want to go. I go to the bathroom to use the bathroom, and then Sean gets in his head that I can beat him. He's in the bathroom now. And get a head start. So you lock the door in the bathroom. You get in your Tesla. I have no way to get out.
I like that.
The small foot
in my bathroom
window,
here. There's a very tiny window,
which I would not be able to get out of.
I could never get through it. You definitely couldn't.
I would bust the window out. I'll try to punch the walls.
So that's a little piece of humor right there. Big guy, little window. I like that.
Yeah. So you're in your Tesla. You're driving. And you're listening to Kanye. I don't have I'm just gonna say I don't have a car. I order an Uber.
So how do you get out of the bathroom?
I bust through. I use my super.
Or maybe someone shows up and lets you out. Like,
yeah.
All right. Like that's act one. You're stuck in the bathroom, and then I have the
Yeah,
lead.
but I ordered
Okay.
an Uber.
Okay.
Uber's taking me. It's like an old grandma, and so I have to like basically be like at her mercy of her driving slow to the place.
And it's like a
So
4-hour
getting
trip.
angry at her. I'm like, yeah,
Okay,
I'm like yelling at her.
That's funny
And then
too.
like you're gonna like, and it's gonna cut to you, and you're gonna have to like take stops at the charge.
Okay.
So there's gonna be like, you know, keep charging it, and then like your car is gonna break down. It's gonna like run out of like you're gonna try to speed up to get to Clemson, and it's gonna like run out of like energy, so you have to start running. And, like,
Okay.
which you're like in
That's
shape
funny.
to do, and then what's gonna happen is like she has like the grandma, she has to like get out the car to use the bathroom, and she like ends up like falling and breaking her hip like in the bathroom. And I like try to like drag her out because like I try to figure out why she's in the bathroom, and then I was like, "Can I take your car?" And she says no, but like I like
You do
think
it anyway.
twice, and I try to have this moral like.
No, you
thought,
like shitting on the
should I be a
grandma.
good person?
You
Should I
should
be a
no, you
bad
should just fuck
person?
over the grandma because that's funny.
And I
Right.
just like take her
The second she
keys.
leaves.
Yeah, I was like, say I'm sorry, and then like I take her car and I rush there.
And then we should clip back if we had a grandma and she still breaks her hip. We just like
Yeah.
the joke is like
But
fuck the
we
grandma.
had like this great head start. Like I
Yeah.
had to wait on my Uber, and she was driving slow.
Right.
Like we
And you were
ended
locked
up,
in the
like
bathroom.
getting there at the same time, basically.
Okay, like that's not bad.
I like
Like so your journey is joke one, stuck in the bathroom, big guy, little window. Joke two, you have to Uber, and the grandma is like really slow, and you're like, "Let's go!" And like this slow
Yeah.
grandma. That's funny. Joke three is you fuck
breaks
over
her
the
hip.
grandma,
Yeah.
and that's funny. All right, that's pretty good. We could maybe add like one more part. So my thing is, I fuck you over, which is kind of funny, and then I get stuck with charging.
Or you should like have the dilemma, like, do I charge? Like, I think I can make it. Should I charge it or not? And you decide not to charge because otherwise, like, and that's how your car breaks down, right?
I do like the funny part of like eventually my car dies and I have to get on foot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so wait, are you stealing the grandmom's car?
Yeah, basically.
Like, what if I'm running and I see you or something, and then
You call an Uber and Brandon's the Uber.
Oh,
Funny as hell.
the grandma left her phone in there, which is still hooked up to the Uber app.
And you're like,
And-
thank God. And then you see it's Brandon. He flies by you, gives you the finger, keeps going.
Okay, there's something there. Like, yeah, like
No, like you call an Uber, she has her phone, so the notifications are going off. So she thinks to like, I don't know, try to contact somebody, I guess.
no, I think you should leave the phone. Okay,
So
Why
you
would
go
that-
pick him up.
like why wouldn't I? Yeah, because that's funny. Like, why wouldn't I just call an Uber right away?
Gets a fare, and he's like,
So okay, so how about with the grandma driving? Like you see me charging or something, so like you think you're ahead of me, and then I'm like fuck it, I see you, and I get out and my thing dies, so I have to start running. So like you figure while you're in the grandma's car, you might as well make some money
Pick up
and
a
like
fare. Mhm.
pick up an Uber.
like very
then you-
calmly.
Yeah, you're
very
like,
calmly
oh,
driving.
like I'm way ahead now. I got a car, and then a thing pops up, $20. Pick up this person, and like I'm going to Clemson. You're like, that's where I'm going. So you're like, I'll pick up this person, and then you pull over, and like it's me, and then
And what does he do? Does it weigh on him? He's like,
Well, it depends like
use
what the
the fare.
distance. It depends like what the distance is there. Like, does he see me from a distance and has
What
the
if you
decision?
like, you have like a hood on or something? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Act like I'm a driver and just look straight.
So getting to this
Car,
point,
like,
it's pretty good. So at this point, we can do something funny, because we're like meet back up. So okay, so you are in an Uber and I'm on foot, and we're at the same spot, and
I like what Brandon just said.
I don't
Like,
know.
so he picks up. Like, I think he would have to pick up one fare, not you, and then to establish that he's already he's like
to
running
make the
Uber while he's
joke
doing
of
it.
like, okay,
Yep.
okay.
And then the second time he picks up another fare, and he's not very talkative. It's just somebody shrouded in like a
So
hoodie or
I'm
something.
hiding myself,
Yep.
because I notice it's him.
Right, and then
Okay, and then
eventually-
at some point we notice,
right,
and then what?
Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, if we were gonna make it short, then we get out and run to the box. But like, I feel like we could add one more thing there. Like, how about I stab the tire? I stab the tire or something like that.
or just like we stab the tire while it's going.
Because I figure I have the advantage in a foot race over Brandon.
But how would you stab a tire if you're in the Uber? Oh, you're saying that
I don't know.
You never get in the car.
No.
Just
Like,
like-
I don't know. I get in and then
It could just be like Brandon's like in his mind, there's nothing he can do. He has the Uber, like it's his moral responsibility to finish the ride, whether or not. But then you do something that technically breaks like the terms of service, like you eat in his car or something. You know, you open a bag of chips. And he's like, out of the car, get out of the car. Like we can't deal with it.
That's how I know it's you. I guess you open up a bag of chips and I look back or something.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Maybe you had a bag of chips. You had a bag of salt and vinegar chips on your desk in the beginning, and then he sees the same bag, and you're like,
that's good. So then when he stops to let me out, I stab the tire, I think.
Okay.
And then we're on foot. And I feel like at some point, some of the dialogue in there that could be funny, like because at that point we'll face each other. He's the driver with no car. I'm on foot. At that point we face each other. Like maybe there's some type of dialogue that talks about like splitting the money, and then we fuck each other over again just for like the humor of it. Like I'll be like, all right, man. Do you know what, dude? Let's split the diamonds. Like it's probably worth about $500,000. I'll get $250. You get $250. And then you're like, all right. And then maybe like it goes to me thinking like, wait, I can totally beat this guy in a race. And then I don't know, then I sprint or something like that.
This is probably where it flashes to me as if I'm about to win, and then zooms out, and it's like,
dude, in between,
I know, but I'm saying this is like kind of the payoff where it's like you guys are kind of far away. It's like
we're walking and we're on foot at this point, so it's like really make sure I'm in the lead.
And then I'm not.
So now that we're both on foot, like, are we? Are we at a half an hour walk away, or like are we? I think we should be like getting.
I think we're
close.
on the highway and we see the signs that say like Clemson, like.
Yeah, that's good. So what's the last stretch? So we're up there. So what's the last stretch? What's the last stretch?
So then, how do you guys have to try to screw each other over somehow?
I think it should be I maybe like I have a brain thing where I could beat him in a foot race. So I say let's split, and Brandon like agrees. Then I'm like fuck you, and I start running. And then maybe like I get hit by a car. You know that classic like humor where someone's like running fast and then you don't expect it, but a car comes. I don't know. I was throwing that out there, but
I'm thinking like you're running.
Because at that point I'm in the lead because I can definitely beat you in a race.
I'm thinking we're running. You're on campus and like you're running really fast and like Dabo sees you and he's like, "Come on."
We can't. If we're gonna even attempt to do any type of filming with this, that makes it harder. I know. The grammar part is also a little flawed. Like maybe we can use Shelby because we do have her at our fingertips.
You could see some girl,
and that's all. Like,
we do have
some
Shelby
girl on campus wearing monograms, and you can't help yourself but asking, "Oh, where'd you get these monograms?"
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, so I'm in the lead. I get distracted, and we can think about that. But then Brandon's in the lead. And then something happens with him. And one of my original things was like Brandon sees like a pizza and like the scent comes out. You know the little finger like from a cartoon. They like taps him on the head and Brandon's like, oh, $500,000 at diamonds. And like the scent like taps him and then Brandon gets distracted. Then we catch up and then we're basically both sprinting and we get there together. And that could like kind of wrap it up. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like when you guys are running there. It has to start with you guys like walking, shooting the breeze, and then like slowly you like
because we agree
speeding up. You're slowly speed walking, and then eventually you start all that sprinting.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm like, dude, you know what? We work together. Like, let's play it.
I guess we can have like a dialogue where we talk about David. Like, you know, I wonder if David's close. Like, we gotta hurry up. Like,
at least we're not riding a bike. Yeah.
Or we don't know that you're riding a bike. I don't think at this point. Like we think
we're scared that you're almost there.
Because we all said we weren't going to go for it, so we assume you're not doing it. We're like, how stupid is David not going for this? Like we know it's going to be diamonds.
We can call David and like he's on the phone, like maybe lying while he's on the bike or something.
What if when you guys are like finally meet up and you're walking, you're like somebody has like a come to Jesus moment, like, what are we doing? I mean, what is a treasure map? We think there's going to be diamonds here, and you kind of come to the realization, like, all right, maybe we won't, and then. All right, let's go.
And then it like happens again.
Yeah, right. And then you start walking slowly, and then you.
That's funny. And then I get ahead because I'm faster, and then I get distracted. And what should be my distraction? Because we mentioned getting hit by a car, we mentioned monograms, we mentioned Dabo. Like, what we got to add some comedic thing here where I get held up. Mm-hmm. Dude, I think getting hit by a car is always. I mean, I don't know how I feel like.
It's just tough. Yeah, that would be tough to.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's I could do
possibly doable.
You just film one shot if you like acting like. You
also, like, wouldn't I die? It's like Regina George in Mean Girls. Like, I'm pretty sure she would die. And she was at least had a neck brace, so that would ruin my mobility. What would be something to stop me? Like,
the monogram? I don't know.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like, because we're at Clemson in this scenario, and like, girls monograms.
Shelby or Rachel as the girl with the monogram on, I guess.
or like, yeah. I mean, we don't
It's
need
like
to
one
figure
of
that
your
stuff out
graphic
yet.
shirts that like you made from your.
Okay,
company.
all right, so that fits.
Yeah.
I see, yo, college girls, the high school girls are wearing my monograms. I run off and I start talking to them and I'm like, okay, so when you were shopping on the website and you had the checkout screen, did you go to cart or did you? I could like start talking logistics about that,
And they
about
have to-
checking out.
and they should just be like not into it. You know, you'd be like,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then what
dude, I don't
happens-
know. Yeah.
So you
like,
get like
yeah.
settled in, and then
So I basically
they
nerd out on
mention-
like business. Yeah.
yeah, this is my company. And they're like,
Yeah.
But here's
Okay,
the joke:
I
like,
don't care.
You get
Creeping us
settled
out, dude.
in. You get settled in, and one of them say like, "I'm part of the Diamond Club," and then your like head thinks, "Oh, diamonds," and like you got to go back to the diamonds.
That's actually not bad. That's not bad.
Mhm.
That's really good. But so how do you pass me at this point? I think maybe it's something like,
Well, I can smell the pizza,
But
and
like-
then
but like,
I'll go
that's how-
to
no,
the
because you have to
pizza,
be-
and I'll
you have
take,
to
like,
be
the
at-
pizza boy's bike or
no, but you have to
something.
be ahead of me for that to be funny. Because like, so now I get distracted. I'm ahead. I get distracted. Then you have to get ahead and get distracted by the pizza, and then we
I just
meet
think
up.
while you're talking to them, you see in the background Brandon kind of hustling, like speed walking.
What if he was on like
like,
a little scooter
past
or
you.
something like that, like just for the comedic of it? Like he's
Mhm.
like on a scooter or like something like that.
creeping behind you, tiptoeing
Or
behind
like
you.
gets another Uber. What if Brandon gets another Uber and it's a grandma again?
That's
Or
how I
he
was
like gives the
thinking
girls a
that.
thumbs up, like they're plants.
I mean, that's pretty much the last decision. How does Brandon get past me? Does he walk? Is he on a scooter? Is he on an Uber? What would be the most funny? Like I imagine like Brandon on like a little scooter that'd be like have some comedic look to it,
That would be funny.
and like
Yeah, I think that like it all has the same effect. You know.
Yeah.
So the funnier
okay.
thing would be like a scooter
So
or like a
then,
little
and then
bicycle.
he's ahead. Then he gets distracted by the like classic cartoon like
How? Yeah. Can we do that? Because I love that idea. He kind of floats away.
What happens?
Like when
so
you
you
get the
you are ahead. You're in the lead, and then you have to get distracted one more time for us to meet up, and you get distracted by the smell of food. Do you know what we're talking about in classic cartoon where like
Yeah, I know, I
the smell
know.
turns into a
Like
finger?
a pie.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
Twist
if
them
we
up
were
and they-
able to like do this full on with all like the special effects, it would be so cool.
Like we could do something
could
because
try.
it's
I
an
could
easy
do
film
some,
as far as
like-
like you would just have to act being like.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest
then
thing
I
is
just,
like,
like, I guess
I'm only
mask
10
my
steps
body
away, and the
off
funny
slowly.
the element there, and like it's only 10 steps away from
And he like
500,
back,
but like
back and forth.
yeah,
Is that what he's doing? He's like back and
the, and then the like the smoke or whatever, the smell, the scent like grabs him, and then he's like, and both of us at the same time notice like, what am I doing? Like the diamonds, and then we meet up, and then
Mhm.
and then we FaceTime you, and we that's pretty good.
All right. Not bad. 1
So
minute left.
So we're gonna storyboard next time as far as like we're basically gonna have say 10 blocks for all of our stories, and we're gonna write out our stories first, and maybe I can even do that in my own time, and then we just have to place them. And then the last part, which maybe we don't have to do in the 15 minutes, would be like the logistics of filming it. And like I think we did write this for Solo. Like the only other character is the grandmom and the girls, and for the girls and the grandma, technically, like you could just kind of be like. The camera will be on me as like the girls, and I could just kind of be talking to them, and like because we're not gonna hire actors. Like we could film all this stuff,
Rachel could be. I mean, not Rachel.
or
Shelby could
we
be
always
the
have Shelby.
grandma.
Shelby will. She's embarrassed herself before for me for something like that. Shelby could be the grandma. And the main reason I would want an actress as the grandma is because I love the element of the grandma getting fucked over, breaking her hip, and like all that stuff. It's just funny.
All right. That's it.
That's
Man,
pretty
we
good.
Pin in it.
basically made-
Put a pin in it.
Yeah, now he's got to do like shooting
Like the storyboard element. Oh, dude,
logistics.
Not bad.
that's not bad. That's a classic rat race story.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
That
it.
is.
It's yeah.
That's it.
Dude.
15-minute riding
Dude, in the
room.
rat race, when it's at his, and that guy's like, he's the slowest one.
The
He
Mr.
gets
Bean,
there-
right?
Yeah, he gets there first, but
Yeah.
then he has like a sleep problem. He literally
Sleep
puts the
apnea,
key
yeah.
in the lock and then falls asleep.
That's one of the first movies I ever had on VHS. I
That
remember
movie is so good, man. That movie is good. Like all the different characters, like Whoopi Goldberg's in it, and then like John Lovitz's family, like gets stuck at like a Hitler museum, and then they steal the car.
yeah, yeah.
They steal the car from like the Nazis.
His car. Yeah.
And then he like later he gets like his tongue burned, and he has a little thing on his face, and like he's like out in front of a big crowd putting his hand up, like talking like a Nazi. And Seth Green's in it. Oh man. Whew. All right. What's
That
next?
doesn't happen to Cuba Gooding. Like,
Dude, that's also hilarious in that movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. does the coin flip because he's a professional NFL referee, and he like reads it wrong and fucks up the whole game, and everyone hates him.
Yeah.
I don't. You mean in real life?
Yeah, like, did he go to jail or something? I don't know.
No. Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
I think he's like a jerk. I think people have said he's a jerk, but show me the money.
All right.
All right.
Next segment.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that
What's next?
David's video clips of the week?
Videos of the week.
All right. So I have 3.
Woo!
Stop me if you've seen any of these, and we can maybe.
I mean,
cut that
do it
out.
for the audience too.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So let's start with. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, I have to do the audio as well.
Videos of the week. You tired there, Brandon? No, I don't know. I've never seen this.
All right, this is one of my favorites. All right, tell me if you guys can hear it.
Yep.
Can you hear it?
Yep. It's better than Ashley Simpson.
I mean, that's the move. That's maybe my favorite move of the whole thing.
And it can do without the symbols.
He grew up. Like, how did his life turn out?
Watch his.
Why didn't he pick him up?
Because it like broke off the handle. Like it broke. I don't know if it was any way, but watch his. I love his moment of indecision. So right now, panic.
Everyone else stays steady. What do I do?
I love America. That was his
I love the decision though. Like you got to make a decision at that point.
Great decision.
That's the move. I think that's like I respect him so much for this because he's there's nothing else he can do. That's all he can do.
And
so I love this guy.
It can do without the symbols. So like,
sure.
And it seemed like this performance is very serious. Like very.
Yeah, they're some sort of a military academy.
Yeah.
You know, like they're all wearing, and I love the little guy on the snare drum. Just
look at the like difference between that big dude and like.
I know, yeah.
Are they in the same grade?
It's probably middle school, yeah. But I love that. I thought that was that's a leader right there. He had to make a quick decision.
Well done. Better than Ashley Simpson. Better than Mariah Carey. Well done.
All right. So did you guys see this?
You showed me this. This is oh my god.
Brandon, have you seen this?
No.
Set it up, like, because actually the first.
So this is
pause it for a second. Because the first time you showed me this, I didn't get it, but once I understood it, I died laughing.
So there's a 74-year-old woman who needed rescuing after being injured while on a hike.
Yeah.
She like broke her leg or something. So they had to, and she was far enough up where like an ambulance couldn't come. They had to get a helicopter to medevac her out, basically.
Standard procedure.
It's not because she was like had a life-threatening injury. It's just because they couldn't get to her. Like this is kind of common.
Right.
You don't have to be that high up for it to happen.
Standard procedure.
Just evacuating her. Yep.
Injury. Like she just needs to be picked up, dropped off at the hospital, airlifted. Standard procedure.
This is her in this little burrito thing.
And she has to be in that because that's how the helicopter can clip to her.
And they
need to get her there. Right. Okay.
Right.
All right.
It's like mummified.
Pretty much. Uh-oh. They're like, all right, pull her up. Oops. See, she's kind of swaying. It must be a windy day, or maybe it's the helicopter wind.
She's almost there.
Spin. I gotta let it back down. Try to get that under control.
You see dude, she's going fast.
Oh my god.
She's still in there.
It's just so hard to imagine there's a person there.
Yeah, look how fast it's going. Look how fast it's going, dude. Look how fast it's going. It's like a literal helicopter. It's like it's going as fast as the helicopter or chopper.
They just take off the fly.
So then they go.
She's dead.
No, thank God she's okay.
Right.
She's dizzy. She's dizzy.
She also passed out. She was going so fast.
Oh my god!
Like the physics of like being in that helicopter. Like
this is fast. What she's doing right now. I love.
It's as fast as the chopper.
I love that so much. It'll never get old to me.
Like this poor lady, she's going for a hike. Like She's probably
She's
never
slowing
been
down.
on one of these before. But
74-year-old
But she,
woman
oh yeah, I
like
forgot
that.
about that. I forgot that she was 74.
Oh.
That makes it even funnier.
Yep, and she was okay.
She was
I
okay,
love that
so it's
video.
all good. Dude, that's amazing. I remember the first time you showed me that, you sent it to me and I clicked on it, didn't read it. And I just thought like it was something was spinning, but once I understood the context, oh, that's good. That's just such a good video.
All right, so this is a long video. I skipped forward. All right, let's see what time I'm at because I want to show you how it starts. All right, 4 minutes exactly.
I've never seen
So
that.
this guy's on a hike in Utah. This is recent, actually. He's on a hike in Utah and he sees this mountain lion. That's a baby, as you can tell, right? Do you see it?
I see it.
Yeah. So you know they say like whether it's bears or mountain lions, like if you see a cub around, like that's not good because there's going to be a territorial defensive mother somewhere, and that thing's running towards him.
He knows that. Okay.
You.
And he sees and he
Doesn't
hears
know
saying F you. He does. But in the woods there, he sees something.
That could have been his last word. or death.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
They're not gonna be scared of that.
Oh
You see him?
Oh damn, dude! What is that thing? A mountain lion?
Mountain lion.
It's like
He left
10
mountain lion.
times
Dude, that
That thing is big as
No!
him.
get the away.
okay? They don't know
Right.
English, so the cursing doesn't help.
Go away.
No, he does. Listen,
Away.
so get the F away.
The anger in his
Go away.
voice must be. This guy's been trained in this
Holy-
type of stuff.
You realize they're speaking English, right? Oh, you're saying the mountain lion doesn't speak English.
Yeah, but
Go.
whatever. It's just a joke.
Got it.
No.
He's trying.
Go
Like,
away.
there's certain
Go
things
away.
like
Go
with
away.
some bears are supposed to be big, some bears are supposed to like play dead. You know, so I think he's
Dude, this-
trying everything, but he's staying calm. All right,
Go
so
away.
Well, he's doing something wrong. He's retreating. That makes it-
but slowly.
I think these
So-
guys
so-
been trained. This guy's been trained
I think so too, because
because he knew the cub. He knew the cub was a
Go
big
away.
deal.
Go get
and
your
this goes on
babies.
for
I'm not coming back.
another
It's
4
like
minutes, right?
such a showdown, and then he kept the camera on, which is pretty epic.
No.
Hold on, watch
At
this
least the
thing.
mountain
Go away.
lion was like, "Hey, this
Go
is my
away.
space.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, like,
Yeah, but
watch
watch.
you until you like go away."
Watch here.
Go away.
I don't know what kind of.
No. Taste.
Oh,
Trying
wait.
to attack you. You guys are looking away from you.
Do it again.
He like
He's
What do you
calming
want me to
down.
do?
You can see it's like he's calming down.
Come
in
on.
his voice for some reason.
he needs to portray more
Sorry.
anger.
Maybe he's just
Oh.
tired from walking backwards.
I think he's just terrified, and he's just like, "What
This sucks.
in the world?"
I mean, I'm sure the animal's a little scared too.
Sucks dick.
My heart is racing.
I don't think that animal's tired at all.
Not tired, a little scared.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, oh yeah, that's why
Bubble,
he's doing
Bubble
this.
defend the kid no matter what
Go
because of
get
the
your babies.
instincts.
Go away.
And like, if you keep your wits about you,
Damn.
you could take on a mountain lion. You just have to be
The mountain lion.
thinking
You mean in a
rationally,
physical
get a rock.
fight?
Yeah, you can. You just
Right.
have to.
True.
Like,
True. I mean, you don't
you
want
have to
to.
Come
think.
on, dude.
You're a human being, but you have to kill it.
Right.
So you have to like rip its jaw out or get a
Its
rock or
head.
do something. I want to see.
Right now,
if
the
this
lion
like-
is assessing the threat essentially. Right.
Go away.
I'm hoping it attacks him.
Go away.
But either way,
Does-
Go away.
Maybe this is it. It does these like weird, like
I saw
away.
like scrape up dirt.
yeah. Hold on.
Go away.
They have some like good.
Go away. Go get your babies. I'm not coming back down. I promise.
In
I don't think he's ever
Utah.
gonna hike that trail again.
Oh, there we go.
No.
Yeah. That was like its little like flaring up moment.
This is basically like
Holy
get the F out.
No,
It's a
go
beautiful
away.
place wherever he is. But how
Go
scared
away.
would you be if
Dude.
No.
Oh, that's scary. That's scary.
you hear it?
No.
Yeah. Like neither of them
Dude,
wants to
that makes my
fight. Neither of them wants to fight. And like
Yeah, like the lion, like
But they
he
will.
knows, like,
The
he's
lion will
dangerous,
fight.
but he doesn't know. He's assessing like, is this guy more dangerous than me?
right, exactly,
Like,
exactly.
so
He's
he's
like, I'm
just
not.
so
He's like, I'll
like-
fight, but like, I don't want to.
He picked up a rock and
Yeah,
he just
get
threw it
the
at it.
away from me.
Oh, really?
And that's when the lion knew like
That's
this
it.
might be a real
See,
threat. So when he run away,
That actually makes sense because the lion understands that like the one thing that scares about humans is their like weapons, and that's probably been smarter. And like it's probably been wired. And the lion's like, I can't throw, but dude, that is a showdown. That's cool.
That's crazy. What that
Yeah,
makes
the
me
one I
think of
thought
is
that was
like, unless
a
it's
superpower, probably like you're throwing rocks. I can't do that.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
like there's a mountain lion can absolutely kill you, but you can also kill it. Like if it's a grizzly bear, nothing you can do. You cannot defeat a grizzly bear. But if you like are rationally thinking, even like some people, like if a dog came and attacked you, like you're a human being, you can beat up a dog. You just have to like. You could also lose.
You could lose.
Protect your vital organs and your
You have to. I mean, your best advantage is your brain. Like they might not know go for your throat or your head. You do. So
well, they probably do because they have instincts. But
true,
they'll like
true. You gotta bash them in the head and like.
Yep.
What'd that thing weigh? Like 150, 140?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, it's not.
You can throw it around.
Yeah.
You just you can't be
weight
you have
wise.
to be,
You take it. Yeah.
You have to be brave. You have to
just like any fight.
yourself.
If you get hit, you can't like give up.
Right.
Like it might help to like do something like this, like go in like a fetal position, but like
some animals will go right for the back of your neck. Like I think again with bears, sometimes that's like if you do that with a grizzly bear, it'll come kill you right away.
Yeah, that guy did a good job. He was obviously trained enough to know what to do, and the fact that he kept the camera on is a cocky ass move, and making me think that he knows that he's trained in this. Yeah.
He was like, if I die,
yeah. David's videos of the week. Woo!
That's good.
All right.
So now,
last segment, and did we change the name of this segment to Brandon's moderately sized bites?
Oh, hell no.
These are big ones today.
I like it. Are they big or moderately sized?
We'll see. All right. This is Brandon's Big Bites.
Big bites.
All right.
Big bites.
All right. This was like one of my. I'm just gonna move this question up top, since we just had that video. Explain one time you thought you were gonna die. Kind of like the mountain lion.
I mean, I don't really have a great one here. One thing pops into my head. When I was 11, I've never been as scared as I was at this moment, but it was so stupid. I went into an elevator at a hotel, and it wasn't moving. I was stuck, and the fear that went over me was one of the fear that you're like talking about. It kind of came over me. Oh my God, I'm stuck in this elevator. Turns out I forgot to hit the button for the floor.
Oh, really? Are you serious?
I just didn't hit like floor 11 or whatever. And the second I hit it, it went right up. But like, it's just funny.
How long?
Probably like 12 minutes.
Oh God. I'm surprised nobody else came. It would be really funny if it just started
honestly,
going.
Honestly, it probably was. It was probably less than 12 minutes now that you say that. But it was, maybe it seemed longer to me because of just this irrational.
It was probably like a minute.
It started playing through my head. It probably was like a minute. But I think it was a little long because like, sometimes like I was staring at that emergency alarm thing, and I was seconds away from hitting it. So like that is a level I was at. I was the fear that came over me because I was younger too is the first thing that popped into my head when you said this. I never thought I was gonna die.
You're in an enclosed space by yourself.
I thought I was gonna be stuck in an elevator for like, and I'm in my head, and I've got. My brain would never do this to me anymore. But my head started playing out the worst case scenario, firemen and my family all waiting for me like, oh my God, like this being the most crazy thing that happened at this family reunion. Because that's where I was. I was like with my family at a hotel. I thought I was trapped in there.
Your mom, poor mom, what is she going to
fish me down like food? Like, yeah. I the worst scenario played out in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to hit the floor.
It's funny how kids' imagination run like
exactly.
that. Mine,
and some adults.
I had yeah, for sure. And it's, like, I guess mine would be, I never really, like, there's been moments in cars where it's like close calls where you're like, you get that like adrenaline shot and you're just like, whoo, 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 and you feel like $1 million afterwards, but where like you narrowly avoid something or something narrowly avoids you, or like
anytime you drive with me, Tesla.
Oh my God, just white knuckling the whole time. So that's probably the closest. When I was a kid too, one time my friends and I went out in the woods. We used to go to my friend's one property who had like a ton of land, and we would do campouts, and we would go out when the sun was setting and like laugh around. Oh, we'll get lost in the woods. And then we did it, and it was the scariest thing in the world. It was pitch black. There was 5 of us.
Damn.
And like
you lost perspective of direction.
Everything was the same.
Yeah.
And very quickly we like resorted to like screaming at each other and like Lord of the Flies within like 10 minutes.
Were you blame gaming it?
Tears everywhere. Oh, absolutely. Everyone pointing the fingers, Lord of the Fly style.
Yeah.
I remember we were probably in like 5th or 6th grade, and like my quote unquote girlfriend at the time was with us. So like I had to be level headed.
That adds an element.
Big time. I took the lead. we probably wandered around for like 2 hours, and like we saw these things. They're like those wooden stakes that have tarps around them that almost like sometimes gardens. So we came across that
a landmark essentially that gave you perspective.
No, we thought somebody said it was an old canoe because it was really, really dark. Somebody thought it was an old canoe, and for some reason that terrified us. We were like, we thought it was like a cemetery. You would have thought
a canoe in the woods isn't that scary. It's just a canoe in the woods.
And we were like, get it together, get it. Tears, waterworks everywhere. It was so. And then we finally we went into this nice big enclosure or big like cleared out space, and we got back into where we knew by going through like the thickest thorn bushes and like sticks of all time. And then once we're out and we can see, we were like 20 yards away from the big big cleared out entrance. So we just lost our perspective.
You lost perspective and panicked too.
I didn't know that I was going to die, but I knew for certain someone here is going to die. Somebody that I'm with is going to be dead by the end of this. But we were all right.
That's good.
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah.
I mean, like last year I had like panic attacks for the first time in my life, and this was like the overwhelming feeling of like your heart racing, you think you're gonna have a heart attack. And there's been like occasion where I like drove myself to the emergency room thinking I was gonna die, and then
you were fine.
Anxiety. Yeah,
that's like how that's like fuels the panic attack, right? It's like your heart starts racing, and then you're like, oh my god, what's happening? That's scary.
I don't
the brain just worked.
Yeah, that is scary. I'm glad you're okay. And I don't mean to be like insensitive, but in like a TV show writing thing, like what is more humorous than a panic attack? Like as far as freaking out, but you're actually fine.
Yeah.
But like I'm that's sad. Like just if you look at it from a comedy movie standpoint, everything's absolutely fine, and one person's like, "We're gonna die. I'm gonna die." But and I always thought.
I wonder if you can give yourself.
I never have one, and I don't want
to
demean it, but I'm glad you're okay. And like, what did the doctor say to you? Like,
one of the I mean,
what did you say to the doctor? Actually, that's a better question. You show up.
They do the EKG, and they say your heart's fine. They do like blood tests. They say everything's fine, and
they probably see it relatively often.
I mean,
and then
it's a thing.
I tell them like I'm having chest pains, and then they say it's like costochondritis or something like that, which is a very common thing, which is inflammation of your breasts, like bones, your sternum. That can be like, but there's one doctor like he kind of like figured it out. Like he's like you just need to go home and practice mindfulness. And
I mean that's like
but
easy
he said
medicine
it in
to
such
prescribe.
a genuine way.
You should have said, "Can I have a prescription?" That would be fine.
But like I don't know, like I've heard of the word before, but he kind of like explained it better. Like
just,
I wonder if he was like a psychologist, like a brain doctor. If he was like a heart doctor or something. That's scary. I know that there was a girl in my high school that used to have panic attacks, and like at one point it was like during change of periods, it was like the most crowded hallway, and she was like in a ball, like in the fetal position, like screaming and crying, and like hundreds of people around it.
Essentially, both of our stories that we told.
She did. Now
especially they were panic attacks. Yeah, they're like just like losing, like that's the worst thing.
Control a little bit,
and like
there's a difference
when the brain takes over
attacks.
and starts playing a worst case scenario. I've definitely never had like a real diagnosis for it for sure. But
there's a difference. Anxiety attacks is like there's a trigger, like something's going around you that's bad, and it triggers it. But a panic attack, it happens out of nowhere, and there's no trigger, so it kind of like it's worse. So
okay.
Like what it happened, I was just like nothing was going on, and it's just like I started like shortness of breath. I started feeling horrible, like lightheaded, and just heavy pressure. So I don't know.
I'm glad you're okay, brother.
Yeah, learning experience. All right, these two we kind of like went over, but I just want to like ask him in my way, I guess. Okay, so the first one. Explain in one sentence why terrorists were allowed to enter the Capitol building, break windows, loot, and storm police indoors.
I got my sentence. I mean, I don't know everything, but if I had to answer in one sentence, I would say power in numbers.
Yeah.
10,000 versus 12. Or whatever it was.
I'd say the president encouraged it would be mine. And that's what like stoked the power numbers.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like,
It's true, though.
That actually is like a very exciting like phenomenon that I imagine if you're part of it, how cool it must feel to be like the whole entire structure of our country has a defense, but they can't take down all of us. Like that is like a probably a little bit of a cool and like empowering feeling, which probably leads to it's kind of like the panic attack element where like, whoa, we're doing that, like, and then it builds and builds and like
You
it's
could
not
also
good.
tell that they didn't have much of a plan. Like once they got inside, it was like
What,
underpants.
like
zones,
literally, yes.
you know, it's like
Step
we get here,
one,
we have
I love when he
step
says,
one,
oh, go, you do it.
step one, get the underpants. Step two, step three, profit. Okay, like that's kind of what they did. Like step one, infiltrate the Capitol. Step two, step three,
Trump is
Trump
president?
gets a second term.
Yeah.
Trump gets second term.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can
it
you
is
imagine? Imagine if Congress like gave in. They're like, okay,
All right.
you can be president again.
Yeah. Like, it's so unrealistic. And like, they know that. Like, I saw one funny thing. You see the picture of the guy with like, who took the podium?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't respect this guy, but at least he took a stand.
That's good.
All right, yeah. So another question, basically going off of that, like, yes, it's power in numbers, but just like, is America? Like, I think it goes with a lot of things. Like, you know, we're in like one of the worst pandemics in 100 years, and people only got like $1,800 while other countries are getting more. Like, is America really the greatest country if like people were allowed to just storm our Capitol building? Like,
Fuck yes.
I would say yes because they are allowed to do that. Like,
okay.
But also,
we have our
like,
problems.
literally, there are countries in this time and age where like those type of coups actually have effect. Like Trump has always been kind of been attracted to dictators, and like there's real dictators. Like they hold the power and force, and they won't leave. Like our system is so much stronger than that. And like even when someone like hypothetically or reality tries, like every American is taught in school, like our system is 4 years election. Like we have it built into us in like defense and weapons and police, but also built into the souls of every single person that this is how it works. We're a democracy, and like that is not something that is physical, something that's inside all Americans, and that creates strength. Like you can't overtake us. We all respect the system too much.
I say yes because I'm American and I'm proud, but like there are countries that are in better shape than us right now from like a people being happy standpoint, from like national security, from like being cohesive. You can't argue that we don't have our problems right now.
Of course we have our problems. Every country has their problems, but I think, so is there some companies that are happier? I feel like you might be thinking of someone like an Iceland. Like,
or a lot of Scandinavian countries, yeah.
So yes,
Norway.
in this they have little diversity, like little problems. So socialist government, so like no one's worried about money. Like, and the happiness levels could potentially be higher there. Fair point, but like if you're gonna say what's the best country and you use happiness, they
also
have
healthier,
happy and healthier. They have a case, right? I mean, we could compete with them in that maybe. But the one thing that
certainly not health.
Well, right. I mean, we probably have more healthy people than them. So like by a number, not a percentage. But
right.
The other thing that if that's a fair shot at which one of those, the one thing that they can never compete with us in is the things that we create. And our system creates those things. And that goes with technology, infrastructure, and the internet, weapons, which is something that people have across the world, and also movies and pop culture. We are the best because we create the best things. And that is like a big checkbox that those countries don't have.
Good point. Yep. Agreed.
So, and we're fucking
culturally relevant. Yeah.
We're the best. I mean, and of course other countries might think they're the best, but like is there a movie that came from France that is higher grossing than any American movie? Like we would probably have, I don't want to watch it because it's in French and I don't want to watch subtitles, but like we would know what it is. Is there some superhero franchise that we've never heard of?
Bollywood.
Like
Bollywood's a huge, and there's like a billion people in India.
France?
So like,
India.
No,
India is actually interesting. They probably have their own little culture there. Like, because obviously American culture drips into Japan and England and France and Europe because like we're all kind of capitalists and like the same. And then as you get further away in the world, like India is like I don't know that India is interesting, very interesting.
It's like 3 times bigger than us.
Yeah.
More, and they have their like Bollywood is their version of Hollywood, and they have these like huge. It's a very like distinct style, but they have it might gross more. I don't know, just because of the sheer number.
But the main metric that if this was a GDP is the metric that I think is the fairest
that
to
we
rate.
use. Yeah.
Well, like you have to, if you're going to actually say what's the best country, and you need to have a metric to find. You can't really have a metric for happiness, which would probably be the best one because it's complex. But there isn't a metric. Like GDP is what the country produces, which translates to jobs and money and things, and like. Happiness is obvious. It's hard. You can't measure happiness. So we have the highest GDP, and China's creeping up on us.
What about GDP versus like debt? Did they take that into account?
GDP doesn't take debt into account.
No, but I'm saying like, do you?
I mean, I don't know how to rate this. No one does. But I mean,
at what point does like
the debt? We could just fucking print money. By the way, I'll just say one sentence. If you would have invested $1,000 at the point where I made a Bitcoin pitch on this podcast, you would now have like $19,000.
No,
I said $23,000. I made a no. I mean when we talked about Bitcoin on the podcast,
23, right?
Okay.
I was like, my news story of the week was Bitcoin is now at $23,000. This is insane.
Yeah.
If you at that moment, one of us would have invested $1,000 after that ended. It would now be worth $17,000 or $18,000. Bitcoin is up to $40,000.
What? Yeah, so it's it's under doubled. How would it multiply by 19?
All right, good point. You're right. No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right.
You make a lot of money.
You're 100% right about what I just said was absolutely mathematically wrong. But I meant you'd be fucking way up.
You've doubled your money. Yeah, almost. Which is
it's gone up $17,000 since then. I didn't think this through before.
Sure.
But and that goes back to the debt thing because we can print more money, and like if we're the reserve currency, we don't really need to pay the debts, and we have the best military. So like it is a brewing issue. But America's the fucking best country because I fucking said so. Red, white, and blue.
Less America. Love it.
America. All right.
Do you think we're the best country, Brandon?
Huh?
Do you think America's the best country?
No.
What country do you think is the best country? You also picked his team to win in cartoon landscaping wars, so your credibility is a little low, but
I think Canada is the best country.
that is so...
I think Canadians might disagree with you on that one.
Why?
It depends.
You just said on a podcast that is going to say that Canada is better than America. Let's hear this
there's
one.
many reasons. Like I like the cold. It's personal bias. I like the cold.
We have plenty of that in America.
I like the city of Toronto. It's like the North Hollywood.
New York City Junior. Okay.
Yeah, and then I like the landscape. I like the different like.
My favorite place I've ever been is in Canada. It's in Alberta, Banff National Park in Alberta.
Beautiful place. It's the same Rocky Mountains. It's the same Rocky Mountains that go up through America. Like
all like
we have that beauty in America.
I went from the Rockies in America and flew from there to
Canada has tons of natural
way more
beauty,
beautiful.
Of course.
They have universal health care. You can like you can mail drugs to each other. Like they just it's
cool.
a very like I don't know.
Weed is nationally legal there.
It fucking
So
sucks.
Canada's cool, but like
They've never been in like any conflicts.
Yeah, because they're
really.
pussies.
WW2. They were in World War II.
Yeah, they fought with us in World War II. I mean,
I like Canada.
I have no problem with Canada. Great place. They're like America, but like America's more crazy and like rich and like and like we create everything and like we're nuts. Like our politics are nuts. Our sports are nuts. Like I love that shit about America.
A lot of people that like create culture here are Canadian though. I'll give you that. Like,
but where do they live?
Right, they came here to do it, but you know they have a Canadian influence. I love Canada, so did
you think that one? You think we said there's definitely not a metric to compare, but you're gonna go on a limb and have a big bite and say that Canada's better than America?
Stick to your guns, bud.
Might as well
in
stick to your
100
guns.
years, we'll go back to that and see if I'm right.
Dude, what a cop out. 100 what? Why not just make a bold statement? What's the best country in the world?
America.
Oh, all right. Well, you're easily convinced.
You made like a pretty compelling argument.
I
there, so
mean,
was
you should
"All right."
like if you stick with it.
I'm saying like
We were
personal
arguing about
bias.
Looney Tune fucking. We got pretty into that. We were arguing Looney
Can we go
Tune
back to it?
landscaping companies. Like, you just got to stick with your gun. That's what it's all about.
All right.
Unless you're Trump.
Stick to my guns. America
Eventually
is
you
the
give
greatest
up.
country right now, but I want Canada to be the greatest country.
That's an even worse take because you're American.
That was way worse.
You're American,
The,
so like
The U.S. just beat the shout out American World Juniors. Just beat the Canadian World Junior hockey team.
Is that hockey?
In Canada? Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
like they're.
The
It's funny 'cause,
juniors, what
like-
are those like under 18?
under 20 and under. You can have a couple 20-year-olds, but it's like it's a big deal for them. Obviously,
I
for
would
us,
imagine that's a
not
huge deal because Canadians like hockey. So
And
Brandon,
this was like one of their teams of their. Let me just finish this. One of the teams of like the generation, great team. They hadn't trailed at any point in any game. Rolled through Russia in the semis, and then the Americans came and just.
that's like a Miracle on
dominated
Ice,
them.
Miracle on Ice style.
not
if it
nearly-
was the Olympics,
not
not
nearly-
like 18-year-olds.
and also like not nearly as big an underdog. There was no Cold War
Okay,
going
yeah.
on, but
True.
it was an upset. So
All right.
it's like I think the Americans were like plus 240 in the game. So
Well, Brandon probably bet on Canada.
he took a future on him.
So Brandon, you think America? You live in America, and you thought that Canada was better, but you agreed that America was better, but you want Canada to be better.
Yeah, personal bias. I see this like fictional Canada as like this amazing place. So it's like I want them to be,
But it's not fictional; it's a
imaginary.
real place.
Well, like to like everything to get better there.
Well, why wouldn't you just wish that for where you already live?
Because I just don't see it happening.
All right.
Not so much a wish as like a prediction.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
You should expect us to ask you what your big bites are and like maybe prep them a little bit.
I don't at all.
Like we've done it every big bite the last like 3 podcasts. We say, "What is your opinion?" So like we prep it out a little bit. Prep it out.
Yeah,
like you're the
prep
one
it-
guy who knows
prep
these
out my
questions. Like
answer,
we
yeah,
prep out.
I
Like
got you.
we're gonna ask you and like maybe like a little bit of coherency, coherency through the words you're
things where
saying.
I don't have to answer them. So, it's
But
not
you can
fun for
probably
me.
predict by now we're gonna ask you back.
Yeah,
Probably will. We got one more of these, so like think about
Do we
it.
have
a
do we
little
have
bit
one more
before-
big bite?
No, we have one more podcast.
Oh, right. I'm always sad when it's over. I guess that's a good sign.
Yep. Don't cry because
Dude,
it's over.
I would
Smile
like
because it
to.
happened.
I would like to say one more time how silly that cartoon character fight was.
Yeah. She got into it. Dude, this is what I think Lauren and Shelby love and hate about when we all hang out. It's like it's bound to happen. We can have a discussion that starts with cartoon, and then next thing you know, we're
And like this is like
We're, like, at
this
each
is
other's
us hanging out like on steroids because we're thinking it through and we're planning it out, we're structuring
Right.
it, and it's I think it's good content, man. I mean, like
Yeah.
this I love how we do it. But let's not reminisce until maybe the last episode, and we'll play the
True.
song "I Will Remember You." We'll play like
vitamin
highlights of
C
some of it.
graduation.
Yeah,
As we go on.
That's what that band is called.
I guess
Well,
they're
vitamin C. No,
I wa-
it was a like C level pop star, but she had that one song.
Okay.
Vitamin C, red hair.
I know that. That's cool.
They're one hit wonder. All right, well, everybody, let us know who had the real best cartoon team. Let us know if you made it this far, why the hell you're still here, and if you're still here, come on, give us a little like or something. Subscribe on YouTube. I don't. You know what? Don't even fucking do it. Who cares? Just kidding. Do it. But anyway. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for listening. Peace out. This has been fun.
Adios.
And we'll see you next week. Peace. Oh my God. I just got the worst news ever. Turns out, if you don't subscribe to the podcast, I will die. So please subscribe. Please. My life depends on it.